Hello. Hi. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Are we having a good Monday? It's a new week. A new week for us to begin, to start anew. I hope you had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. It was pretty chill. Didn't really do anything crazy. Me and Rev went bowling. That was fun. And got pizza on Saturday. Yesterday was very chill. So that was my weekend. Pretty chill, pretty relaxing. Didn't really do anything crazy, so I mean, you know me, getting wild at the bowling alley. Did I win at bowling? Okay, I came close, but I will say I had bumpers and Rev did not have bumpers. So maybe it was a little unfair. However, I will say, first of all, I had no idea Rev was this good at. Why does my voice sound like this? I'm like so raspy right now. Hold on. Anyways, that might happen. I don't know why. I guess like I don't know. I'm just a raspy girl today, chat. But I had no idea Rev was so good at bowling. Like, I don't know if we've ever been bowling together. I haven't been bowling in forever. Like, I used to go when I was a kid all the time. Like all the time I would go bowling as a kid, but I haven't been bowling in like a million years, so I don't even know, man. Celeste was just banned from Twitch. Oh really? Do you know why? Did she post about it? Let's see. Did it like just happen? Said she is doing her own investigation. Interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the reasoning is. You would think, does Twitch usually give you a reason? Thank the Lord, I've never been banned on Twitch. So I'm not really sure how that works. I know it can be all different kinds of things, so before I comment on anything like that, I'd want to see what Twitch said, but that's, I don't know. Well, that stinks. Rev did play a lot of Wii Sport Bowling Trust. I don't know if he did. I'm not sure if he did, but like, yeah, he was weirdly really good at bowling. Like, it was really funny, honestly. Not sure about that one, but yeah, I don't know, but it was really fun though, although I kind of forgot just how heavy bowling balls are. Maybe I'm just really weak, chat. I have like noodle arms, okay? I've never had very good upper body strength. Like, when it comes to like upper body strength, it's just, I'm just bad at it. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I have no upper body strength. So, yeah, I'm not sure. But I was trying to lift I think it was a 6. The number on it, that's how many pounds it is, correct? I assume. My ball was 6 pounds, I guess. It had a 6 on it. And Rev's was like an 11 or a 12 or something. But like even with mine, like I felt like I was gonna like pull my arm out of my socket. I was like going to lift it, and I'm telling you, like, it's like lifting it was fine. It was more like whenever you throw it. It was throwing it that made me like, I was like, ow, that kind of hurt a little bit. Which, like, to be fair, maybe also I just have terrible, like, what's the word? Like, form? Maybe my bowling form is not very good. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to get the proper bowling form technique down. Maybe we need to go back and I can practice it. Maybe I need to watch some YouTube videos about bowling technique to see how that goes, because I'm not sure. But anyways, it was fun though, I will say. It was really fun. Yeah, that's what matters, right? As long as you're having fun. At the end of the day, like, what else can you really ask for, you know? Hi Kocho, welcome in. Hi guys. You got good at Wii Sports Bowling? I never played Wii Sports. I think maybe I played it like one time at a friend's house, like when I was younger, but I don't know if I ever even played it at all, to be honest with you. We didn't have a Wii because we were poor. My mom actually, I think one time, I was like a little older, and I think my mom had found an old Wii at like a yard sale, and she like brought it home, and we got so excited, and then it didn't even work. Like, it literally didn't even work, and it was just like, well, I guess that's why it was so cheap at a yard sale. Dang. But I remember being like, oh, a Wii, that's so fun. I've always wanted one. And it literally didn't even work. How mean. How hurtful. But yeah, this weekend was pretty fun. So that's good. And I hope you guys had a good weekend too. We have some things that I kind of wanted to talk about. One of them in particular, the first thing, and I just thought this was kind of silly, but I guess we'll scoot on over to it, and you guys can see for yourself, okay? And I just want to ask everyone, as I always do, please be on your best behavior, and if we talk about any people in specific, please don't go and harass anyone, of course. We don't like that around these parts. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about, let me make myself a little smaller first. Do you like my braids, by the way? I wore my braids today. I was pretty proud of my braids. I thought they were pretty cute today. I'm trying to click this thing so you can see it a little better. Okay. So this person, which I'm somewhat familiar with this account. I've seen her before. I think she's a part of Turning Point USA, I guess, Alex Clark. She had something to say about Hoppers, the new movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar. We're gonna watch a little bit of the trailer. But apparently they debuted with 88 million worldwide, marking the biggest opening for an original animated film since Coco, which was in 2017, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Coco. I really love Coco, and actually Rev had never seen it until this past December when we went to Disney. I like to watch Disney movies like while we're at Disney, and so we watched Coco while we were at Disney, and he loved it. He thought it was also very good. It's a very sweet movie. It has a good story. The music is great in it. So highly recommend Coco if you've never seen Coco. And you guys know me, I'm someone who is pretty, like, I would say I'm fairly easy to please when it comes to movies. That being said, I understand like having critiques and stuff. I feel like personally, I go into movies wanting to be entertained. And I've talked about this before, but I do feel like a lot of people go into movies not really necessarily wanting to be entertained. I think a lot of people go into movies with a prejudgment of what the movie's going to be, and typically like a more negative view. And I feel like a lot of people are looking for things to not like, looking for things to complain about. I'm not saying you can't dislike things, I'm not saying you can't complain about things, of course you can, but I do feel like a lot of people, I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but I just feel like so many people like almost want to be upset with things. Like it feels like people want to complain about everything. They want, like, they go into a movie and they don't even go into it like wanting to just enjoy it for what it is. They go into it just wanting to pick it apart. But that's just my little soapbox because that annoys me, but it's fine. I have a little bit of a personal pet peeve about that, but I digress. Alex had said, I went to see this. Excuse me. Parents shouldn't take kids under 10 to see this movie. Kids 10 to 13 years old should see it with parents and have a discussion afterwards. It is the darkest Pixar film with heavy themes, destruction, and violence due to the main character's selfishness and bad decisions. None of the main human characters are likable, promotes a message of all people are good inside and that all animals should be elevated to the same level as humans, neither biblical. It's also completely void of joy, atypical for a Pixar film. Only a handful of laughs and instead focus on heavy and serious topics. Can't imagine any children wanting to watch this film a second time, let alone over and over again. And I will go into this saying, I have not seen this movie yet. I have not seen it yet. However, I have seen the trailer. We're going to watch a little bit of the trailer together. and kind of just like a little bit, talk about it, a little bit, talk about it. I feel like this, like as someone who is a Christian, this concept of like neither of these ideas are biblical, it kind of annoys me because like it's a movie. Like how I feel is it's a movie. I guess I just don't understand why it has to be the exact same as real life because it's a movie, it's not real. It's fiction, it's not real. It's like the same thing with people who get upset at Harry Potter or something and they say it's witchcraft and that you can't watch it. And then some people will say the same thing about like all Disney movies like Frozen or Encanto. They'll say, well, there's magic in it, so it's witchcraft, so it's evil and dark and people shouldn't watch it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if that's something that bothers you specifically, if it's something that you can't separate, you're having issues separating it, then that's like a personal conviction for you. But it's not real. It's a movie. And this is like, we'll watch some of the trailer and you'll see, but it seems just like a very fun, funny, silly, imaginative movie. Also, I feel like a lot, almost like all movies, especially children's movies in particular, and like animated ones, like a lot of them have like talking animals and like talking, like someone mentioned like Toy Story, like talking toys, and it's not indicative of real life. It can be a lot of symbolism. Things can, and they can even portray like really good stories that I think can be really good for all types of people, whether you're Christian, whether you're not a Christian, whatever. So I don't know, to have these articles, or not these articles, sorry, to have these like specific grievances, I guess, with the movie, I just don't understand. And then the all people are good inside. I mean, of course, we know, like I believe as a Christian, obviously, we're all fallen, right? We all sin. But at the same time, like, I don't necessarily think a message of, like, people have good inside of them, I don't think that that's, like, an inherently bad message, you know what I mean? I don't see that as being, like, a bad thing. I don't know. But again, you can have your own opinion about it. I just feel like this is kind of, like, I wonder if she really is actually this upset, or if it's kind of just, like a rage bait post, or just like the outrage just seems like kind of extreme. I don't know. But this is what I said. I said the trailer looked funny and wholesome to me. Also, no offense, but who cares if animals are elevated to the same level as humans in it? It's just a movie, it isn't real life. I'm already seeing a lot of good reviews as well. Sounds like many adults and kids are enjoying it. And then I had people saying things like this, like, it's just a movie. Actually, it's not just a movie. These messages are placed over and over throughout childhood to make kids and adults believe ridiculous things. Like, what is so ridiculous about... I mean, I know, like, talking animals are, like, ridiculous, like, in and of itself, but, like, I don't know, we're gonna watch the trailer, and you guys can see the trailer before you have any of your own opinions. I just don't know, I feel like a lot of this is just kind of strange to me. Also, I don't feel like this is, like, I don't see what me saying it's just a movie, because it is just a movie, it's a kids movie, I don't see how it's comparable to, like, it's a flag, it's a pronoun, it's a drag queen story time. Like, I feel like we're kind of stretching things a little bit. Someone said bet she really hates Toy Story, but yeah, let's watch some of the trailer for ourselves, and then we can kind of get an idea of what the movie's about. But it looked cute to me, I can't lie, it looked pretty cute, but let's see. I will make the screen bigger so you can see it better. Okay.
Doc! Oh, I need your help! Mabel, I'm in the middle of class. A class that you are enrolled in.
So this is like the main character. Her name is Mabel. She's clearly kind of all over the place, right? She's in this class and she's like freaking out about something, so...
Come with me. The traditional methods to understand animals just weren't working. But
this is kind of silly, right? They're like, they're trying to see how they can understand the
we've
animals.
done it, Mabel. We created a revolutionary technology that gives us unprecedented access to the animal world.
So it's kind of like, the idea is kind of like Avatar in a way, you know? Like, have you guys seen Avatar? Not The Last Airbender, but like Avatar, like the blue people, you know, where they get in the little pod and then they're able to basically become the animal. It's kind of like that, but they're able to do it here. So they call it hoppers.
Call it hoppers. Huh? We put this into this. Yes, this into this. Mabel, be careful!
And so of course Mabel's super excited, like she wants to get into it.
Whoa. And they were in the same
wakes
den.
up.
No. I understand you.
So she wakes up and she's an animal and she's able to understand the animals. I feel like this is something that, like, especially as kids, but like I feel like a lot of people have had this thought, especially when you're a kid, right? Like, oh, I wish I could communicate with animals. I wish I could know what they were saying to each other. I don't know. I feel like this is very relatable. It's very cute and like funny. It seems like something that I think kids would enjoy.
What you doing, lady?
This is incredible!
Hey, what's your name, Beaver?
Mabel?
You want to live here, you better learn pond rules.
What are pond rules?
So the whole point kind of is like, without spoiling it, this is just what the trailer says, because I haven't seen it, like I said myself, but it sounds like there are pond rules. So Mabel becomes the beaver, and then Mabel tries to save another beaver because the beaver is about to get ate by this big bear, and then Mabel is kind of confused because the beaver's like, what are you doing? It's pond rules. Like, he got me, so he gets to eat me. And Mabel's like, what? Why would you just let him eat you? That makes no sense, you know? Because, like, to us, we'd be like, wouldn't you want to fight for your life? But, like, she's confused. So, like, they're kind of explaining the pond rules to her. Also, there's this really cute lizard that everyone's talking about.
Mabel, everyone! Rule number 1, don't be a stranger. Looking good, Fran. Tom, Laquan, Tamara, Prudence, Pete, Peter, Petey.
Yeah, it's crowded, but we're still alive.
So I guess, like, I don't know, she said it's really dark. Maybe, like, situations like this, I could see how, like, some really, really little kids maybe could get upset by things like this. But by and large, like, I don't feel like this seems really dark so far, in my opinion.
Rule number 2, when you gotta eat, eat.
How did he get a little crown?
That's your question?
Fellow animals! The humans have stolen their last inch of land from us!
There he is.
We gotta fight back!
And so I think also part of it is that the main character Mabel, like, they're gonna build some kind of bridge or something, and it's going to go over this piece of land where she liked to go when she was a kid or something. But apparently if beavers build a nest or something there, that they won't be able to build this infrastructure basically that will, like, destroy habitats and stuff. So she's very into it. And so I see some people might be like, oh, this is like environmental, like, propaganda or something. It's like, who cares? Like, I don't know, it seems pretty wholesome to me. And you know, if you don't like the politics behind it, if it bothers you that somebody would care about conservation of animals, like, I mean, that's your own, that's fine to have an opinion like that, but I feel like it's like a fun, cute movie. Like, I don't know, I think it's fine, but, you know, it just seems pretty silly.
Treachery ends here. Now, let's squish the humans.
Yeah! Wait, squish?
So it sounds like then the animals want to retaliate and they want to, like, squish the humans, right? And so then Mabel's like, wait, what? This is not good, actually. And so then she apparently has to go and, like, she's gonna try and save the humans now because she's nervous for what's gonna happen. So, like, I don't know, it seems really interesting to me. It seems like a cute idea. And I was looking at some other, like, comment sections about this movie. This was a guy who was doing some reviews on it. And like you can just see some of the reviews. This guy actually, we won't watch his actual video, but you can go watch it, Daz Reviews. He said, well, I was wrong about Pixar's Hoppers. Apparently he thought it was going to be bad, but he said, we have a Pixar new original movie and it's good. A lot of people were agreeing. They were saying it was pretty good. It's pretty similar to Avatar. Way better than they thought it was gonna be. Many Pixar fans used to say word for word, I can't wait for this movie to make me cry. It grinds my gears every time I see it. I actually did cry here and there when I watched Hoppers, which like, maybe you won't cry. I might cry if this person cried because I'm a crier. But this person said I thought it was pretty good. Apparently the lizard's actually not featured very often, which is kind of sad. Like, they did promote the lizard a decent amount, but okay. Some people didn't like it, that's okay. I mean, not everyone's gonna like it, right? A positive video? Who are you? What have you done with Daz? It's actually really good. I don't know if it's top tier. It's definitely one of the better films in a while. You know, ironically, this is just like Avatar. Could confuse some kids who are more familiar with the animated Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. And I can't say whether or not you're gonna like it. You know, like you might like it, you might not like it. But I don't know. I think it's worth checking out. And I just think that this specific like argument of like it doesn't have all the same message as the Bible, blah blah blah, the animals are elevated to the same level as humans, I don't feel like it's totally void of joy. It seems pretty silly to me. I mean, this scene also seemed kind of funny, but I don't know. I think people just want to get upset about things sometimes, honestly, but that's just my take on this. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I really feel like people just want to get mad about things sometimes. It feels like people just want to complain, maybe, but maybe I'm just being overly critical. Oh. Hello, love your videos and streams. Keep up the good work, Home Slice. Bless. Thank you, Naf. I appreciate that. Thanks for the $5. Thank you. And Wifey Wappin, thank you so much for the membership for 3 months. Good afternoon. Hello. God bless you too. Thank you so much. Why are we looking at Twitter? Well, I was talking about this movie, but I'm gonna go see Hoppers soon, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But I'm curious, have any of you guys seen it yet? And I understand not everyone's into movies like this. Like, not everyone's into like animated movies and stuff. I am. I'm a big fan of movies like this. I just feel like I'm gonna like it. Then again, like I said, I am pretty easy to please in a way, I think, when it comes to movies, so I don't know. These are non-issues. Christians who do this stuff are embarrassing. I mean, I think it's okay to have like feelings for yourself, you know? Like, if you have a personal conviction about something, if you feel like maybe something isn't good for you specifically, but I think just to come out and say like, I don't know, all of these things, and just like her saying she can't imagine children wanting to watch this movie a second time, I just don't see why. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm probably correct. I'm always right? I'm like, maybe I'm off base. I'm like, actually, no, I'm always right. Yeah, Strawb is always right. You guys can mark that down on your calendars. Always. Always. Every day of the year. How can she know what the children like? I mean, I don't really think anyone can unless you're a child, right? Or like if you're seeing what children like if you have kids and you know your kids liked it, or you know your kids have friends and your kids' friends liked it. I'm pretty sure someone also mentioned that she has no children. So it's like, you know, not that you can't have an opinion on it, right? But it's not like she's getting the opinion from like her own children or anything. It seems like it's more of just a personal opinion about the movie. This is a Disney Plus movie. If I ever saw it, not theater worthy. I disagree, but also because I just love going to the movie theaters. I understand going to the movies is like so expensive now, and you know, it can be. However, I always promote, check out your local theaters, and usually they will have a day of the week where you can get tickets a lot cheaper, and also like popcorn and stuff cheaper too, if that's something that you want to do. Of course, you obviously don't have to do that, but definitely check out your local theaters and see if they have a day where tickets are like, I don't know, $5 or $6. A lot of times there will be theaters that do that, like maybe on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So check your theaters to see if they have discounted tickets. Yeah, often I find it's Tuesdays that they'll have discounted ticket days. And a lot of them will also discount like popcorn. Some of them will even do free popcorn if you're like a member. So definitely check that out, because I don't know, I just love the movies. I love going to the movies. I don't want to see the movies die. That's like, because I know like everyone loves to watch things at home, and don't get me wrong, I like to watch things at home too, and I see the benefit of watching things at home. Like it's like comfort and like ease, but I don't know, there's just nothing like going into a movie theater and like watching it on the big screen, having like a comfy, nice like reclining chair that's like nice and good, and I don't know, I just enjoy it, and like a crispy Diet Coke from the movies and some popcorn, and it's just like my bliss, truly. I enjoy it very much. I enjoy going to the movies. Like, truly, if I had my way about it, like any kind of like date that me and Rev could go on, it's like the movies is like number one. Like I always want to go to the movies. That's like peak cinema, quite literally, right? Ices are elite too. I never get ices, but I mean, I'm sure that they are good. I mean, how could it be bad? Anytime I see someone with an icy, I will say it looks really good. Like, it looks great, honestly. But, yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about with the Hoppers movie. Next, we have some more kind of serious, I mean, I don't want to say, like, super serious stuff, but, like, it is a bit more serious. I'm not sure if you guys saw this tweet from Alara, but we actually talked about this like a week and a half or so ago. We talked about Mia, the VTuber, who talked about her opinions on trans ideology and all of that stuff, and it kind of had faded off, or so I thought, but Alara posted this clip on Twitter 2 days ago, I guess now. It really started making the rounds yesterday. And people just did not like what she said. I also didn't really like what she said, but let's watch it and you guys can be the judge for yourself what you think, okay?
Something very, very disappointing, chap. That is right, a VTuber being transphobic in the VTuber sphere.
I'm not homophobic. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're lesbian. However, it is a problem when you're talking about transgender stuff. I feel like you're hurting your body. I think you shouldn't be supporting anybody that says that they're a different gender than what they really are. You're hurting your friends. You're actually this gender. No, these people are hurting, bro. You should not encourage that.
I mean, you can shake your head no all you want. It doesn't change that that's what she believes, and that's what a lot of people believe is true.
Someone tells me, oh, call me a he or a she, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna call you by your name. Oh, I'm all of a sudden this gender. That's just not how that works. Anyone is male and female, and you're born with that biological thing. You are male and female, and I feel like I shouldn't be held back by saying what I feel.
I shouldn't be.
And no, you shouldn't be held back by just saying how you feel. And you shouldn't be harassed and, treated like absolute garbage and saying that your career is ruined because you gave a very, very normal opinion. You should not have to go through all of this.
Held back by what I feel. I mean, look, girlie, I'm not gonna stop you from sinking yourself, you know, like I'm just here to report on it. I'll just show this and say not a word.
You are saying stuff though, like, you can say I'm not saying anything, but like, you're clearly saying something, right? And that's okay. Alara is allowed to talk about things. Obviously, we all are. I'm talking about this right now, but people don't like what Alara said. A lot of people don't like what Alara said, right? And also just kind of dragging something that has already been kind of settled, you know, dragging it back up, saying that they ruined their career, which, you know, I get that it's clickbait. We all use clickbait to a certain extent, right? However, I will say, isn't it kind of just common knowledge that in situations like this, and I talked about this in the previous stream and in the video uploaded about the situation, but isn't it common knowledge that when someone is getting canceled in situations like this, even if the person does something really, really, really heinous, which, like, when I was editing my last video, I was like, take a shot every time Strawb says the word heinous. I said it like 5 times, but genuinely though, like, even if someone does something actually heinous, which I don't think she did in this situation, it always works out for them most of the time. Like, it usually 9 times out of 10, they're gonna get more views, they're gonna get more support, they're going to get people rallying behind them because they're mad that you're trying to cancel them. It just never works out. So I just think that's kind of silly to say that, just because, like, clearly it's not true. And actually, I'm pretty sure with Alara's post, when Alara made this post, I want to say that Mia had less than 2,000 followers on Twitter at the time. And now she's sitting at over 7,000. And actually, since stream started, yeah, it just keeps going up. So I'm just I mean, this is just, you know, reporting on the facts. Like Alara said, right? I'm just reporting. I'm telling you what I see. The numbers are going up, not down. So that's just quite literally not true. She definitely didn't ruin her career. And it's not even just the Twitter numbers going up. Her CCV is going up as well. But yeah, let's continue.
Oh yeah, we're not done. Hold on, I got more for you.
Can y'all stop with that, dude? Again, I have a hot take with that. I feel like it's stupid that a certain race can't say a certain word. Like, that's dumb to me. I feel like that alone is already racist as it is, but you know, that's my take on it.
So let me get this straight, Dad. Let me.
And before Alara, I'll let Alara finish what she has to say, but before she does, I just want to point out that Alara cut out a very important part of that entire post, in my personal opinion. I don't like slurs. I don't think slurs are good. But also, Mia had said right after, and Alara conveniently clipped it out, that Mia actually doesn't say slurs. She thinks slurs are bad, and so she doesn't even say them anyways, but that's just her opinion, that she thinks preventing a race from saying a certain word is racist. Now, personally, I said this before, and I'll say it again, I think the argument is kind of like a moot point for me, simply because I don't think it's an argument worth having, since I don't like slurs, and like, I get what she's saying, and honestly, I feel like it's just for me, it's just like, okay, I don't like slurs, I don't want to say slurs, I don't think they're great, I don't think they're funny. However, I get the argument, I get what she's saying. But Alara left that out, and what I want to know is why, Alara, did you leave that out? I feel like that's like valid criticism, because, I mean, from seeing that part of the video and leaving the other part out, I would just assume this Mia girl says slurs left and right. Like, I would just assume that, you know? But she cut that part out of the video, so I just want to know, Alara, why did you cut that out?
Stand up for this. Hold on, I need to make sure I get this right. Let me stand up. So, you're telling me that it's discrimination to not use a word that is used to discriminate against people. Make it make sense. What timeline does that make sense? That's the argument. It's discrimination. I cannot use this word that is historically been used to discriminate against other people. Oh my god,
I don't know. And again, I don't think it's a conversation. Like, it's kind of a stupid conversation to me, but I just think that she clipped out very important, like, context in it, and that extra part that she just cut out. I feel like that's just, it's just, well, why'd you cut it out? You know, why'd you leave that part out? Or did it make Mia look a little better? And so because it made Mia look a little better, you cut that part out, you know? You kept the part that looked really bad, so you could kind of make it look worse, and then you cut out the part that makes her sound a little better. Like she says, "Oh, I don't say them actually. I think it's bad, you know, because it's like a curse. It's like it's not good, you know." But she cuts that part out. So I just think that's not good. I don't like this. And of course I'm biased. I agree with Mia in a lot of ways, specifically with the trans take. Clearly, Alara doesn't. Clearly, Alara is very pro-LGBT. However, I do want to point something out because I'm not gonna lie, this bothered me. This very much bothered me, and I'm gonna say it because I'm gonna call a spade, so to speak, and I might upset some people in the process, but I try to be honest, and when I see something that I don't like, I want to be honest about it, even if the people are on my side of the aisle, so to speak. So, trigger point. I know you follow me, and I follow you. I didn't like this. I don't like this. First of all, there's no proof. There is no proof that Alara is not a biological woman. Alara has said many times now, from my understanding, that she is a biological woman. She used to use a voice changer years and years ago to make her voice higher than it is now. She's not using a voice changer right now. I don't believe it. She's met people in person. She's been to conventions in person. She's shown photos of herself. There's just no proof that she is not a biological woman. And honestly, why are we stooping to other people's levels and like doing this? Why can't we just criticize like why can't we just criticize what she said? Like, why can't we criticize what she said? I don't understand. And how do you want Alara to prove she's a biological woman? Like, that's when it gets kinda, like, how is anyone supposed to prove this? And now people are just spreading around this rumor that Alara is not a woman. And I don't like that. I commented, and I said, honestly, I don't think Alara is trans based on this. Pretty sure she's a biological woman who just used a voice changer a while ago because she was embarrassed about having a deeper voice. Because if you guys have heard Alara has a deeper voice. I think her voice sounds like a woman. Like, in my humble opinion, I have heard many women in my life. Alara sounds like a woman to me. She does. She sounds like a woman. She sounds like a woman with a deeper voice. They exist. I don't know what to tell you. I said also, I just thought about this. I was like, if Alara was trans, I feel like she would be pretty open about it. I mean, she's very pro-LGBT. Like, I feel like she would get more support if she was trans and was open about it. I also saw Celestium did eventually comment and said, unless someone or Alara herself confirmed she's a guy, I would err on the side of caution, maybe say she doesn't like her voice. I mean, it's very clear, and I believe in this Google Doc, that Alara had said she was insecure about the fact that she had like a deeper voice. I mean, we just heard Alara in this clip. She sounds like a woman. I just think this is petty, this is mean. It's not a good look on our side of the aisle, so to speak. It makes us look bad. And I don't like this. And Savvy did the same thing. And once again, you know, these are my mutuals, but like, I can't lie and say that these posts didn't really bother me, because like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Like, So Savvy said I was trying to figure out why this creature sounded so god-awful, and now it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is disgusting. Talking to people like this isn't right. I don't like this. And it makes me sad because a lot of Savvy's takes, like, in the past I really respected, but I don't know. I don't like the way she talks about people, if I'm being honest. And I say this with all the love in my heart. You know, Savvy's been nothing but kind to me, but I don't think this is appropriate to speak about people in this way, and especially this part right here. I feel like, I don't know if Savvy just maybe genuinely read this in a specific way, but on this post, Alara had said I use a voice changer, and then it looks like someone had commented, but we can't see the comment. I'm not sure why. But you can tell this is Alara replying to someone, right? So Alara said, thank you for the DMs and kind words. I want to answer 2 of your questions. Laura said this was the program that she used. And then secondly, it sounds like the person asked, like, do you know any voice changer that can totally transform your voice to the opposite gender? And so Laura replies and says, I'm actually not aware of any voice changer that can completely transform your voice to the opposite gender. I am only enhancing my voice, not completely changing it. Now I read this, and how I look at it is, Alara is saying she's not completely transforming her voice to the opposite gender because she is a biological woman. So she just uses it to enhance her voice, not to completely change it. However, I guess Savvy read it differently, and so she thinks that this is proof that Alara is trans. I just don't see that. I feel like it's actually contradicting what she's saying. But yeah, she thinks it says that. I disagree. I told you what I think. But I don't know. I think all this is just unnecessary. I think it's hateful. I think it makes us look bad. I think that there are valid things to critique Alara for. I don't think this is one of them. I think this is honestly just gross. I think it's, I don't think it's right. And I don't think that, we should be, I think that whenever we see things like this, we should also call it out, because I don't think this is appropriate. This is not how people should act on the internet. Just my opinion. Don't get angry at me. I know someone's gonna get mad, but I don't know. I just think that this is, I think it's gross. I really do. I don't like it. So that's how I feel about that. Ultimately though, I think we should just support Mia. She seems like a sweet girl. Genuinely, she does a lot of content. Like, she streams a lot. And one thing that I appreciate about Mia, and I said this in the past when I talked about this before, and it seems to still be true, she has not fallen into rage bait. She talks about her content. She streams. She has not, like, you know, fell into the whole, like, rage baiting thing with everything. Like, she's still streaming the same content she was streaming before. She seems to really enjoy streaming and gaming. She's clearly very passionate about it, and I think, you know, good for her. So I think it's pretty awesome to see her get a lot of support. And yeah, I recommend you go check her out, give her some support, because no one wants to be the target of a, you know, harassment campaign. And I think, you know, it goes the same way with Alara. I don't think that it's beneficial or helpful for people to dogpile on Alara. I think, are we allowed to critique people and criticize people? Of course. But it gets to a point where it's like people are just doing it right back. And ultimately, I just don't think that it's helpful. I don't think that, also I think just spreading baseless rumors is not helpful. And I think that it's bad. I don't think that we should be doing stuff like this, you know? Someone said it's a bit hypocritical of Savvy, since Savvy was attacked the same way last year. A bunch of people claimed she was secretly a man. I didn't know that. I just think, like, it's very frustrating, and we already live in a world where sometimes you can't tell if someone is a biological woman or a biological man, but I don't think it's necessarily up to us to assume things without, like, any kind of, like, verifiable proof. And I think that it's harmful. And I don't know, it really just stinks. Like the whole situation just stinks. It's really unfortunate. I know some people will say Alara was just getting what was coming to her, blah, blah, blah. I just think that, I don't know, people should rise above things and be better. But, you know, maybe I'm too much of an optimist. Maybe I'm too optimistic, chat. But I try my best. I try my best to just say how I feel. Personally, I don't care if a person trying to dogpile gets dogpiled back, but I obviously agree that dogpiling in general isn't the best course of action. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she necessarily was attempting to dogpile. I think it ends up happening. I do think dragging up the drama once it had already kind of died off, like, it's just never a good look. I know people can be guilty of it, like different people can be guilty of it to certain extents. And like she streamed this a while ago, you know, she probably just wanted to get her clip out, I get it. But it brought everything back up again, and ultimately all it did was boost Mia more. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess, so to speak. But I still don't think that people should be like going on all of Alara's posts and commenting on all of them. And I've seen like she posted something else for her community and people were commenting like negative things on it and calling her a man. All these tweets calling her a man with like no proof. I just think that I just think it's bad. I don't know. You're not gonna change my mind on that. I'm not gonna think it's good just because I don't really care for someone. I'm not an Alara fan. We used to be mutuals. She unfollowed me a while ago, and that's fine. Like, clearly my content is not for her. That's okay. Her content really isn't for me. That's okay. But I don't think that that means that we have to go and like harass people and spread rumors about people. So that's my take. And we will move on from this conversation now. Well, that part of the conversation. I do want to watch this video because I feel like it's kind of relevant for the conversation with Mia and talking about, you know, trans ideology and things like that. Blaire White just released this video 17 hours ago. And I wanted to react to it because I think it's something that's worth looking at and talking about. So we're gonna do that. It's called The Detransition Tidal Wave, Victims Are Speaking Out. So let's just make it a little bigger. All right.
The wave of detransitioners happening right now is actually insane.
I was a teenager. I
transitioned. Now I look the way I do, but I'm not trans.
Detransition is like leaving a cult.
I have lost pretty much every single one of my friends from when I lived as transgender since I detransitioned.
I lived as a trans woman from ages 19 to 26, and I recently detransitioned about 6 months ago.
Losing the ability to give vaginal birth.
If you told me at 17, if you sat there and told me every single issue, every single surgery that I would have because of a stupid injection that doesn't even work because I cannot become a man, I would have said no. I would have said no, and I would have had a different life.
So this video is obviously going to be about detransitioners, including some that transitioned as minors. I'm not sure if all of them did. I know that the one girl that was just speaking, I'm actually mutuals with her on Twitter, and she talks a lot about her detransition story. She gets a lot of hate from a lot of the trans community just for speaking out about detransitioning, and that happens fairly often, unfortunately. That people just get hate for being honest about the fact that this was not what they were told. They were sold something that wasn't true, and there are irreversible consequences that have came with that, you know, a lot of people like to act like when you transition, it's totally reversible, it's totally okay, it's super safe, and that's just not the truth. I'm not saying that if you're a grown adult, you don't have the right to do these things to yourself. I might not agree with it, but you have the right to. However, you should be aware of the consequences that can happen whenever you do these things to your body. You should be aware. So we're gonna look at this video, and then I have another video as well that we're gonna look at from Buck Angel, actually talking about some more of this stuff. So
it's the gaslighting.
Oh, also I wanted to say thank you, Elijah, for the memberships. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, let's watch, shall we?
Injection that doesn't even work because I cannot become a man. I would have said no. I would have said no, and I would have had a different life.
It's the gaslighting for me. You know, it's this constant barrage of things that I am being reassured are not happening, are not going to happen, that just keep happening. The wave of detransitioners happening right now is actually insane. It's something that I knew would happen because I've been warning about it for the past decade, but it's in larger numbers and quicker than even I thought. Most of these coming from, as we've discussed before, 2020 transitioners. There's a huge trend on TikTok. Why is everyone detransitioning from 2020?
And I've seen that, like, it's like a common, it's almost like a meme in a way of like watching all my trans friends from 2020 detransition, because let's be honest, a lot of it was in fact social contagion. It was in fact a trend. I'm not saying that it's the case with everybody. I'm not saying that gender dysphoria can't exist or isn't real. But for a lot of people, you know, they clearly at one point thought they were trans. You know, how they thought they were trans can be different in different ways, right? Like, you know, everyone's story is different. You know, everyone's path to getting wherever they are is different. But you can't deny that this is like a pretty common thing. It's happening a lot. So it's not true that all detransitioning comes down to peer pressure. That's just not the truth. I think we should listen to the detransitioners themselves and their stories. I know that obviously not every trans person is going to detransition, obviously, but there are a lot of detransitioners out there that are telling their stories, and they deserve to be listened to and respected just as much as anyone else. So.
And so we talked about how the trend overall of trans is going down, but we haven't spoken about this horrific fallout. You know, it's not just a trend dying, it's people whose bodies have been, I don't like to say ruined because I do not like to speak that on people that I see as victims. It's very sad, but irreparably harmed in some ways. And there's an actual human component to this.
I was a teenager. I was injecting testosterone for 3 years. Last year I found a cyst on my thigh.
So she was a teenager when she started getting testosterone. Said she had it for 3 years, and then she found a cyst on her thigh where she was injecting it at the injection site. And that's just one of the issues that Jade, is her name, has had with the transition experience, then now detransitioning. And that's just physical, not to mention the mental and emotional toll that it can take on people. So
I had a dream that God told me that I would be losing both of my legs. Not literally. And then that's when I found it. And it was my injection site. And it makes me so angry that even when you stop testosterone, even when you stop this, there's no going back. You're gonna be dealing with health issues for the rest of your life. I woke up sobbing and wailing. I want to go through another surgery. I don't want to do this again.
And the sad thing is, because Jade has been so outspoken about her detransition, the amount of hate she has received from the trans community, the amount of people that call her stupid, that call her dumb, that say, you know, you might have been you were a teenager, you knew what you were doing, you knew what you were getting yourself into, like all these things, totally invalidating everything that she ever went through. It's just disgusting. And even if you are someone who identifies with the trans community, you should still be able to see that this is a problem and that it's something that you should actually care about. If you really are, like, if you're trans or you identify with the LGBT community, at the very least, you should care about this, because this affects people, right? These are real people, and you should want, at the very least, if you're someone who thinks like being trans is okay, it's good, all these things, wouldn't you want this to not happen to people? Wouldn't this still break your heart? I mean, I just don't understand. And I do think a big part of it is the fact that, yes, kids should be left alone. You're just not, it's not right. It's not right. And, well, it's just wrong.
And I shouldn't have to. If you told me at 17, if you sat there and told me every single issue, every single surgery that I would have because of a stupid injection that doesn't even work because I cannot become a man, I would have said no. I would have said no, and I would have had a different life. But you robbed me of that choice. You lied to me. You told me that I would die, that I would off myself. You threatened my family. Like my mom just keeps saying, I would tell you not to take it. But what the are you supposed to do in that situation when you're threatened?
Yeah, when doctors literally tell parents, do you want a happy kid that is transitioned, or do you want a dead kid? And that's really something that doctors say to a lot of these parents, you know? And it's hard because you want to, like, parents have responsibility, right? As a parent, you have responsibility, but at the same time, you can't sit here and dismiss the fact that these doctors manipulate parents, emotionally manipulate these parents and families into saying things like, well, if you don't transition your child will die. Your child will, you know, harm themselves and end up dead. And you see excuse me, you see that, like, the suicide rate for the trans community, and it's not a joke. It's not funny. It's not funny when anyone takes their life. It's definitely not funny when a trans person takes their life, especially a trans child. It's not funny. But at the same time, these doctors are saying these things to try and manipulate these parents when those are not the only options. Those are not, in fact, in my opinion, they're not options that should be on the table at all when it comes to children. But that's the way the world is right now.
Me as a child to take me out of my home, that I would be separated from my parents, that if I didn't take this one magical day, I would want to off myself.
This girl's name is Princess Jade, by the way, on social media. She is super sweet. She makes a lot of really informative content on this. You guys should go follow her. Yes, there is no going back when you transition. I think sometimes even the word detransition, even though obviously it's something we have to talk about, the word itself is actually kind of inaccurate because there is no real way medically to completely undo everything.
And that's something that people say a lot, though, right? Like, you always hear that everything is reversible. You always hear that. You hear, oh, it's all reversible. It's reversible. This is all reversible. It's just not. It's not. I mean, obviously there are certain things that are easier to reverse than others. Like whenever you get full, you know, like a top surgery and things like that, like obviously, you know, those things are harder to come back from, but like you will be forever changed by these things. These things change your biology, not in a way to make you a completely different gender, but it affects the biology that you have, right? So also I have heard that the percentage doesn't change before and after transitioning. The suicide rate, whether you're transitioned whether you're pre-transition, you just identify as trans, or maybe you haven't had the surgeries or the hormones, the suicide rate either way is high. I'm not sure the specifics on it, but either way it's high. And that's sad, right? That is not a good thing. But I don't think that transitioning is the answer.
If you're like me and find yourself thinking, I would love to make some extra money right now, but refuse to actually work for it, then listen up, because this is genuinely amazing. This is about taken when you're young like this as a kid. It alters your development permanently. You forget. Thank you so much to Free Cash for sponsoring this video, and now on to the rest of the video. When it comes to hormones, and especially taken when you're young like this as a kid, it alters your development permanently in the long run, even if you stop it. That is not something clearly that is told to these kids, and something else that is really not talked about. And as you're going to see, most of the videos we're reacting to today are female to male detransitioners, so women who try to become men. The way that testosterone will wreak havoc on a female body is just so different than a male taking estrogen. It's not that there's not pitfalls to that. It's not that I have even personally had to sort of counterbalance certain things that I might be more predisposed to, health issues, and work my best to be healthy. But when it comes to females taking testosterone and the, schedule of treatments for trans men, it ravages their body and their health in a way that is so different. And so the fact that it's treated such the same as male to female is also a really big problem. It's not a coincidence.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of the differences, and I do believe that obviously there are harmful effects, and Blaire even just said there are harmful effects for both. But clearly the effects that testosterone have on a woman's body are they're just awful, right? And I think estrogen in a male's body is also awful in different ways. But it sounds like this is like really, really bad for some physical reasons especially. However, I know there are physical things as well as mental things on both sides of the aisle, whether it's male to female or female to male. It changes your brain chemistry. It changes, obviously the hormones in your body. It can make your emotions different. It can make your emotions swing. It can make you just more emotional, more angry, more upset, lead to highs and lows, which obviously is not good if you're already struggling with your mental health, to then pump your body full of this hormone that your body does not naturally make. It's not used to it. It's not natural. And you put it in your body, it can really mess with you, right? And it's dangerous. And people need to, at the very least, if you are someone who is, you identify as trans, you're adult, you want to go through with these things, at the very least, you deserve to know these things. People deserve to know the truth about how dangerous all this stuff really is, because it's not just like a cute, fun little thing. It's a serious thing. And so if this is something you really want to commit your entire life to, you really want to do this, you should be aware of this. Everyone should be aware of these things.
Since that most of these detrans people that I see are born female. And it really is like an emotional heist. It's like abuse. I've always spoken against this MO that medical professionals have to say that you either transition or you delete yourself. You transition or you're going to want to end your own life. That is the craziest thing to me, because
that's awful.
First of all, speaking those words over somebody, cursing somebody like that, telling them their future, even if it's a possibility. When you're young and you have your life ahead of you, there should be no world in which that's even brought in as a possibility to your mindset. And yet, if it's not there, the doctors plant it in these trans kids. The doctors plant it in the parents of these trans kids. And so, just like she stated, a lot of these mothers do have every good intention, or they're scared into it. They're blackmailed into it. And I want to put this Gremlins video in next, because it shows what detransitioners have.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but Blaire is very blunt.
To put up with. This trans person is responding to Princess Jade, whose video we just played.
And I'm sure this is, I didn't see all of this or anything, but Jade, like I said, Jade gets a lot of hate on the internet. People are very, very mean to her. People tell her she still looks like a man, which is just crazy. People tell her that she'll never be a woman, blah, blah, all these things. It's like she was born a woman. She is a woman. She will always be a woman, and she is beautiful. Like, that's just besides the point. But these people are just relentless to her because people just, the truth is, I'm not going to speak for every single person who identifies as trans because clearly, like Blaire here, there are trans people who care about detransitioners. They want their voices to be heard. However, there are a lot of trans people who, the moment they hear you're a detransitioner, they're like, shut up. Don't speak. We don't want to hear it. You're a minority. You're a very, very, very small minority, and what you have to say doesn't matter, and you're just, spreading propaganda and lies. They don't want to hear about their experiences. They don't want to hear about what they've went through. They don't want to hear about the very real trauma, and a lot of times childhood trauma, that these people have endured. But they don't care, because it doesn't fit their narrative.
This is what they put up with.
I've discovered something, a fun little trend I've noticed regarding people who detransition.
I'm sorry, this person's already insufferable. Just their attitude, the way they're speaking. It's just like, you're not taking anything seriously. You think it's funny. You think that this girl who went through all of this stuff when she was a literal child, you think it's funny. You think it's a joke.
Because apparently it took away their childhood and their innocence.
Yeah, it did. It did take away their childhood and their innocence. Yes.
So let's play a game real quick. What do all of these people have in common? 1, they're all detransitioners. 2, they're all AFAB, which means they were all transitioning to be men. And 3, they're all white. Why do all of the most prominent detransition grifters fall into those 3 categories? If detransitioning was such an epic...
The term grifter, it will just never fail to make me roll my eyes, because it's just like, why do you insist that these people do not believe what they are saying? Why do you insist that this woman who is coming on here and she's speaking about detransitioning, why do you insist that she's not being honest? Because it doesn't fit your narrative? Because you don't like it? It makes you uncomfortable to hear that a child went through these things and that she regrets all of these things happening to her? Why is this funny to you? It's not funny. And then I don't know why them being white makes a difference. Like, okay. I'm sure there are also detransitioners of all races, and it just makes no sense to me.
Epidemic, wouldn't there be a mix of both trans femme and trans mask detransitioners using their detransition to grift to the right wing? The reason these ones are the most prominent is because they're the most politically useful.
Or maybe you're just stupid. Maybe you're extremely unintelligent, and that's why you can't figure out how to wash your hair. First of all, the fact that...
Blaire. Oh, okay.
You can only look through this through one prism. Shouldn't the detransitioners be a mix of different people? Well, maybe there's different problems involved. Maybe it's not as black and white as you're seeing it. Maybe it's not gonna look the way it's supposed to look in your own perspective, your own very limited, foolish perspective. The first thing is, how is it a grift to fall prey to medical malpractice and then talk about it publicly? How is that a grift?
It's not.
Even if they make money from it. Like the word grift, it's one of the most overused words of this time. I hate this word,
yes.
Not only because I get it thrown at me, for having whatever, but also this is why I don't let it affect me, because if you can launch it at somebody who's been a victim of medical malpractice and say that those people are grifters simply for talking about it, I mean...
You can say it for anybody, right? I mean, if you can say it at literal people who, like you said, went through medical malpractice as children and now they speak out about it, I mean, who can you not say it about? It's just a buzzword. It means nothing. It means I don't like this person. I don't like what they're saying, and I want to discredit them.
What is a grift to you? So if you have a very base perspective of what trans is and what detransitioners are, then maybe you would assume there is a split between, yeah, it's probably male and female detransitioners showing up at the same rates. But when you see it's not, the fact that your low IQ reaction is to not question why that is in a way that doesn't already fit your narrative, that it's all political, it's just an attack against you, somehow has to do with something to do with you. Maybe the truth is something different, which is what I always say, which is that female detransitioners, their bodies are ravaged way more by the testosterone. They are way more affected. There are way more negative consequences for medicalizing female to male trans people than there is for male to female. So,
and again, I think there are negative consequences for both. But of course, clearly Blaire might know something specific I don't, and we're going to see. And I do think this video does focus on female to male, and I believe the other video was Buck Angel, because Buck Angel is actually a female to male trans person. Buck's video will also focus on female to male, but let's be honest, there are issues both ways. And someone in chat said, a wise man once said, the body matters, not only the soul. Strictly gender does not matter. I don't hate it actually. I love to tell you that you were born a specific gender, sex, gender, and that's what you are. It literally cannot be changed. And also, I saw a video the other day and I thought it was very interesting because it brought up a good point of a lot of people on the left for so long have talked about breaking stereotypes of genders and things like that, talking about how women don't need to be a certain way, men don't need to necessarily be a certain way. And then you say that you don't know what a woman is, you can't identify a woman. A woman is just a bunch of stereotypes now. So when you say you're trans male to female, now you want to put on a wig or grow your hair out, and you want to put makeup on and a dress on, because that's what it means to be a woman to you, is a bunch of stereotypes, to wear pink, to wear makeup. But that's not what it means to be a woman. That's not what it means to be a woman. Being a woman is not wearing makeup. It's not putting a dress on. It's not having long hair. It's quite literally, that's not what it means to be a woman. It's just not true. And if anything, it's like what these people have fought for so long to, break down these gender stereotypes, all these things. And then they're just using all these stereotypes because they can't define what a man or a woman is, so they have to use stereotypes to define these things. It's just it's just a costume. They say, like, I remember that one, who was that person who was like the trans person who was on the Bud Light commercial and everyone was upset about it. I forget their name. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. It was the big Bud Light controversy. That person had, Dylan Mulvaney, thank you. Dylan Mulvaney had actually started Dylan's TikToks by saying, day one of living as a woman. And it was just like going on Dylan's computer and talking to people and getting a Starbucks or something and putting on a dress and putting on some lipstick. And eventually over time it just devolved into Dylan was trans. But at first it was like a big joke. It was, women is a costume. This is what it means to be a woman. It means to be sassy and emotional, and to go get your iced coffee, your little drinky drink, and to put on a dress, and to put your lipstick on, and to do your hair all cute, and to walk in high heels. But that's not what makes a woman a woman. It's just not. And what makes a man isn't being super strong, I don't know, what other popular stereotypes, wearing the color blue, I don't know, I feel like guys are a little different, wearing guy clothes or having shorter hair, but that's not necessarily what makes a man either. You are a man because you are born a man, and you have all the life experiences of living as a man. And you're a woman because you're born Well, someone the other day pointed out, you're not born a woman, you're born a girl, or because, you know, you're not a woman is an adult female. You know what I mean? You're born a male or a female. You get what I'm saying? So you're born as a male. You have the life experiences of a male because you're a male. That's what makes you a male. You're a female because you have the life experiences of being a female. You were born as a female. That's your experience. Do people who have, you know, they call them hermaphrodite. There's, you know, I forget the actual like official medical clinical name for it. Do those people exist? Yes. It's a very rare condition. It's a condition. It's not something that is normal, right, so to speak. Not to say that in a mean way. It's just, it's not the norm. Usually those people do have a lot more gender traits that identify with either male or female. It's not usually that you're right in the middle. Usually it's, you're very clearly a woman, but something got a little messed up, and you know, sadly you have some issues that maybe are some more like man traits. And then same thing with men, you know, but that's like the exception, right? And that's a condition. It's not a natural state of being. For most people, it's a birth defect, right? For most people, you are born a boy or a girl. It's just the truth, and you will never be able to change that. You can put, you know, your body through different things. You can go on hormones. You can get surgeries. You can do all of these things to change the outside. You can try and fool people. I mean, look at Blaire. If I saw Blaire on the street, I'd say that's a woman, right? I mean, I know who Blaire is, so, but if I didn't know who Blaire was, I'd say that's a woman, yeah. Like, obviously. However, that doesn't change the fact of your biology. Biologically speaking, you are not a woman just because you try to look like one. Intersex, the word is actually considered a slur from what I've seen. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Actually, I did know the term intersex. I just couldn't think of it. So thank you for saying that. But besides the point, you get what I'm saying though, right? Like, for the majority of people, what is the norm is you are born a male or a female. And of course, like Cherry said, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. It's just the truth. So, yeah. And as you're going to see, I think it's an important reality to have, even if you are someone who identifies as trans or you like the trans community, you know, you're entitled to that. But I think it's still important to be aware of the fact that you are not biologically something different. You will have issues in some way. Maybe your issues won't be as major as some other people's issues, but whenever you do go through with transitioning, you will have issues because your body is biologically different than what you are doing to it and the hormones you are injecting into it. And it can cause problems, and you should be aware of that. This is something that you should be aware of. Just like when you do anything medical, you should be aware of the, you know, potential side effects and consequences of doing whatever you're doing. So I think it's important to be aware of.
So is there going to be a different regret rate when one, you know, sex is receiving drastically different medical results and consequences? Maybe that's the more likely thing here. And then from there, the compassionate, you know, route is to say, how do we fix this? But instead, you'd rather say they're grifters and they're on Fox News.
That's true though. Like, I mean, a good response would be, how do we fix this? If you really cared about the trans community and you were someone who, you know, you believed that being trans was good, but you would still see these people and you would say, clearly this is a problem. This is an issue. Nobody should like this issue. How can we address this issue? You would think that's what these people would say if they had any ounce of empathy, sympathy, whatever you want to call it, in their bones. But unfortunately, it's the dark woke. It's hard for me to say that without laughing. We're living in the era of the dark woke. They're being very honest that they do not care about anyone that is not them. They're over being nice and tolerant, right? We see them say that all the time. It's the dark woke now. We're not tolerant anymore. We're not nice anymore. We're gonna be mean and evil. So, but we're seeing that actually play out.
Very insightful, very deep.
I know that I'm beautiful and kind and full of love. And the things that were said to me in the course of that relationship have burned me in such a way that it just feels impossible to be able to see a future where a man is ever going to see me as a woman. And it really hurts. The whole entire transition just hurts. The thought processes that were forced on me from other people hurts. Because now...
Oh wait, I thought they were all white. Thought they were all white people. What about this woman? Does she not matter? Does she not count? Also, you are beautiful. You are a woman. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think everyone has beauty to them. I think especially when you love someone, you'll find them even more beautiful. And honestly, I don't want to cry. It like breaks my heart to hear this woman say these things about herself, because like it's just so sad that anyone would think that someone could not see them as a woman. That's so sad. And I just want this person to know, I doubt this person would ever see it, but yeah, you were born a woman, and it doesn't matter how many years you took testosterone, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. You are a woman, and no one gets to say otherwise.
It is hard to view myself as a woman again. But I'm not trans. I transitioned. Now I look the way I do. Every single day somebody calls me a man. And I have to be like, I'm a woman, actually.
So I wanted to highlight this woman, very sad story, but because specifically she mentioned or alluded to that a toxic relationship contributed to her thinking that she was trans, trying to transition. And this is something that people do not talk about. When it comes to old literature, old psychiatric guidelines to do with transsexuals, which is the original term, a lot of people think this is all, 2010s and beyond. The trans medical industry as it exists now is over a century old. It's over 100 years old. So the guidelines that we have now are not the guidelines we've always had. And yet these problems are ones we're having now. So you have to wonder why. When it comes to old literature, there is a lot that psychiatrists at the time, John Hopkins, Stanford, and going back even older into other countries like Germany, the UK, they all saw a link for some people with gender dysphoria having to do with abuse and trauma, usually early in their childhood, but also you can go through trauma as an adult, which it sounds like this, woman did. And I'm not trying to diagnose her, but
yeah, a lot of people don't take that into consideration as well, that and I've heard it's very common just in general with the trans community, but yes, definitely also with like young women who experience some type of trauma. It can lead them down this route to where they maybe they think that they would be safer as a man. Maybe they really feel like they're a man. All these different things, but definitely trauma and abuse can play a factor regardless of your gender, for sure.
What I'm trying to say is, one thing that I've gotten a lot of hate for speaking on is that there clearly is a link between trauma and trans, at least for some people. You can never speak for everybody, but we use our brains here. So when I say trans people often are victims of trauma, that doesn't mean every single one. Common sense. However, oftentimes when you want to find the truth about what's going on, when something is so crazy in the moment, like what is this explosion of people detransitioning, you have to go to the past. What was the past understanding of this? And there's a lot of literature about how people, when they go through a trauma, can develop gender identity issues because they feel unsafe. Their body registers their gender as being unsafe. If a little kid is harmed, let's say a little girl, hypothetically, not this woman, but a little girl is harmed as a child, the way her body may survive, the way her mind may survive, is that the body says, the problem is that it's a girl. Girls go through this. girls are harmed and they start to feel like they'd be safer as a boy, and the same can go and vice versa if it happens to a little boy. So that is completely taboo to say now. That is completely considered disrespectful to, acknowledge. I don't think the truth is ever disrespectful to acknowledge. And also
That's a good point. Like, people will be offended by hearing that because it offended them, right? But the truth should never be offensive. Or maybe a better way to phrase that would be the truth is sometimes offensive. Sometimes the truth is going to offend you, but that doesn't make it any less true, and that doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak about it, right? Someone said a lot of people claiming to be LGBT have traumatic childhood. It's not a coincidence. I definitely think it can be a link in certain ways. I'm just like Blaire, I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm not going to say everyone had a traumatic childhood. Someone else said I feel like a lot of Christians all seem to have a traumatic childhood. I guess you're trying to be cheeky there. I think the link is maybe not the same, in my opinion. I could be biased. However, I will say I did have a pretty traumatic childhood in certain ways. I was okay, it could have been much worse. But I went through a lot of things as a kid and as an adult as well. And it did lead me to Christ. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I'm not ashamed about, going through things. I'm not ashamed about, like, I've been clinically diagnosed PTSD. It affects me every day. It's something I deal with. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of needing Jesus. I'm not ashamed of him giving me peace and making me whole. And I'm not ashamed of that. I don't think anyone should be ashamed of that. So it's not a gotcha for me.
You can hold, nuance and a further truth in the other hand and say it doesn't mean it's everybody. But to deny the people that may be experiencing gender issues their own self-recognition and self-discovery that maybe it has something to do with unresolved trauma from their past, to deny them that simply so you can be politically correct is crazy.
Detransition is like leaving a cult. Trans is a cult. It requires groupthink and adherence to these insane beliefs that men can become women and women can become men. And it has the idea of a gendered soul. And it's just all very dogmatic. I used to argue with people on the internet.
A lot of people say like they're not religious, but they will get there. It's almost like these types of groups become religion to these people. It's like a form of religion for these people. Does that make sense? Obviously, it's not the exact same as like a religion, like Christianity or Judaism, Islam, all those things, but they treat these communities, whether it's a trans community, whether it's just like the LGBT community as a whole, all these different, it's a worldview, and they'll treat this as their form of religion. It is true, and they will make it their whole life. And if you do not agree with them on every single thing, you cannot agree to disagree. A lot of these people, you have to agree and affirm them. And if you don't, if you think a little differently, you're cut. You're out.
Internet that, oh no, trans has nothing to do with being like a religion, but it does. It's like a cult. And leaving it behind is essentially like leaving Scientology. You're going to get ran over, you're going to get canceled. I say this because there's no safety net in society for detransitioners. Your insurance will not cover any related reverse transition care. You're going to lose a bunch of friends and people around you that, now think you're automatically a transphobe.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, honestly, being someone who was trans and did any kind of, hormones or surgeries and then detransitioned. Like, all the people that would have been surrounding you and then losing them, because even coming from someone who I wasn't trans, but I was very much like pro LGBT, a lot of my friends felt the same way. And then over the last couple years, when my beliefs started changing, and I became more vocal about them specifically, I lost so many friends, you know, I lost a ton of friends, even friends that I told them, you know, I will never hate you. I will never ask you to change. I will always love you. We can agree to disagree. We don't got to talk about it. I still want you in my life, but it wasn't enough because they just couldn't understand. They couldn't understand what happened to me. Like they really couldn't understand how I could change in these ways and like just believe things differently. Yeah, they just couldn't get that. So it's very frustrating. I only said one thing and was mistaken in what I said on my other account. How long the timeout? I believe it was 10 minutes. I usually use around 10 minutes unless it's something worse. So I believe it was around 10 minutes. Yeah, let's try to keep chat constructive. Of course, you can disagree with things that are being talked about. You can, you know, chat amongst yourselves, but I just would like for everyone to be respectful. So if you do get timed out, it's because maybe you said something that wasn't the most respectful. So I would just appreciate if we can all try and be respectful of everybody. And that goes for everybody, right? Especially when we're talking about things like this, because these are very serious topics. These are not things to just talk about lightly and to, you know, say things that are just like blatantly hateful. I know some people will say that I'm being hateful just by speaking my opinions, but I think there's a very big difference between saying things in a loving way and an honest way, or even a blunt way, and saying things in a way that is specifically hateful and using slurs and things like that. So
just because you are detransitioning, you are now stuck between two genders for some of us, because some of us have so far medicalized.
Yes, it does place them in this gray area medical place where there's not even like a field for this yet. There's not even detransition specific professionals to understand what these patients might need going forward. A lot of them have to stay on hormones, so they can only really detransition sort of, you know, mentally and spiritually. But I absolutely agree with what this person is saying, and I always look out for signs. Okay, I try to see, okay, there's so many detransitioners. I myself am a happy trans person. I know happy trans people. What is the difference between those people and people who end up having regrets? This is a red flag for me to mention that it's like leaving a cult.
And I think that that's a valid thing that Blaire just pointed out. I'm not going to sit here and say that there are no happy trans people in the world. I fully believe there are probably some people that transition and they are happier. I don't think that's everyone. I don't think that's, I mean, I don't even know if that's the majority. I think that really a lot of trans people are probably still, you know, going to experience this dysphoria, these negative feelings, all these mental issues. I think a lot of people will continue to experience it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that nobody could be happier transitioning. Does that mean that I still think it's correct? No, I don't think it's correct, because I believe, you know, that I believe that it's wrong according to what Jesus has taught us. And that's just that. That's how I feel about that. Obviously, you're free to disagree with me, but I don't believe it's the way to handle it. But I'm not going to sit here and act like people couldn't be happy to transition, because I don't necessarily believe that's true. However, I do believe there are deeper issues at hand, and I don't think it's going to fix everything, and I think it can make certain things a lot worse. So yeah, just wanted to point that out, because I feel like a lot of people are under the impression that I'm like, oh, being like, if you were to like take hormones and this and that, like you'll definitely want to detransition, and it's like I'm not necessarily saying that. I just don't think that it's the answer. I think in some cases it's like putting a Band-Aid over something that, you know, it needs something more than a Band-Aid. You know what I mean?
Because yes.
And ultimately, I think And of course, not everyone here is going to agree with me. You don't have to be a Christian to be in my community, but I believe that Jesus Christ is the answer, and I will never not say that. You can think I'm a crazy person all you want, but Jesus is the answer. Jesus will give you hope. He will heal you. It might not take away all of your bad feelings. He might not remove them all. But he definitely could. If that's his plan for your life, he definitely can do that. He has healed me of many things. He has healed me of many addictions and things that I completely never thought in a million years I would not have a desire for. He has removed those desires from my heart the closer I have gotten to him. He is a healer, he is a redeemer, and he can change your whole life. He can change everything. But you just have to be willing to accept him. So
if you're doing it to be part of a group, this is a big red flag. And this is where a lot of people get caught up, especially online. So when I saw all these like trans Reddits and social media, you know, where people were becoming part of groups and it became this political thing, it became this tribal thing, it was so strange to me because I came to this conclusion, you know, alone. It was an individual move. It was a very individualistic mindset. And so the idea of doing it for social inclusion, whether consciously or non-consciously, because the thing that I sort of see is that a lot of these detrans people, when they got, you know, caught up in transitioning and made the mistake, whether they knew it consciously or not, at least subconsciously, they were trying to gain access to a tribe, trying to feel part of something. Mm-hmm. And you never want to make a decision as big as your body, your fertility, your mental health, your physical health, your lifespan, everything. That decision should never be made factoring anybody else in at all. It's very scary, the idea to me, as a very highly individualistic person, to ever consider a decision as drastic and doing it for other people, right? But the scary thing is you can even do it subconsciously.
I lived as a trans woman from ages 19 to 26, and I recently detransitioned about 6 months ago. And I'm gonna talk about why that happened and kind of what the f is wrong with me that I did that. So growing up, everyone always told me I was gay. The first time that happened, I was in first grade, and it got progressively worse my whole life. And then when I was in high school, this was around, so I graduated in 2016 to give you a...
So this guy is, I guess, was male to female and is now detransitioned and is living as a man, which is he was born as a man. So just to give clarity and context, 'cause I know it can be kind of confusing when we're talking about transgender people, like if they are male to female or female to male, especially if we're talking about detransitioning, and it gets a little confusing. So making that clear.
Kind of rough.
Sorry, people in chat, like, people who keep saying over and over again, like, there were cross-dressers in Jesus' time. He never said a word about it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know every single thing the Bible says. I've been reading through it. I've read a decent amount of it. I hope I can continue reading more, and I'm going to continue reading more. I'm not the expert in all things theology. However, I can assure you, Jesus is not okay with this. Jesus does not support this. Jesus does not endorse this. Jesus would say, I love you. Repent. Repent and turn away from your sin and follow me. Does that mean we will not stumble? Of course not. We will stumble. We will have urges. We might cave to those urges sometimes. But that doesn't mean that you just live in sin and you just love it. This is not something Jesus would be okay with. And I think that's very clear, especially when you just look at what the churches have taught historically, whether you're a Protestant, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Orthodox. Look at what the churches have taught on these things historically and what most of them to this day still teach. The only churches that teach that these types of things are okay also say things like, Jesus was yikes, and this part of the Bible is problematic, and Jesus was okay with X, Y, and Z that's clearly not okay. So when you look at the churches that teach these types of things and say that these types of things are okay, when you look at everything else these churches are saying, everything else these churches are doing, you will see a pattern that none of it is biblical. Yes, there are literal quote-unquote preachers that will preach from a pulpit, opening up the Bible and saying, we're not going to talk about this part of the Bible because it's yikes. I heard them literally say it was yikes. I've heard them say Jesus was mean. I've heard them say Jesus, like I've heard them say a lot of crazy things. So when you hear that there are Christians who support this and think this is good, and those are the kind of churches, Christian quote-unquote churches that support these things, those churches are not biblical churches in any form or fashion. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not. And you need to be really honest with yourself. If you are someone who identifies as a Christian, you need to be really honest with yourself about, what does the Bible actually say? What does the church actually teach about this? Because if you really care what the church teaches, what the Bible says, if that really matters to you, you should look into it. You should look into it. Because it's very clearly, this is very clearly not biblical. And if you're not a Christian, you probably don't care. And you know, why would you care if you're not a Christian? But if you are someone who says that you're a Christian, you believe in Christ, you should want to follow what he says. And oftentimes that will mean believing things that you don't really want to believe, at least not at first. You might see something and you might think, I don't want to believe that. That does seem mean. That seems awful. I don't like that. But yeah, it's a belief. It's not a buffet. It's not a, come and pick and choose what you want. That's not what following Jesus is about. It's not about picking and choosing. It's just not. And it's just very frustrating to me. But I'm not going to go back and forth and chat about this. Again, you're free to believe how you believe, but when it comes to speaking about Christianity specifically, talking about what Jesus would believe and what Jesus does believe, I'm not going to allow people to, say things that are just not true. We're not going to sit here and say that Jesus thinks that trans rights, Jesus would not say trans rights. He would say, I love you. He would say, you deserve dignity and respect, but you were born the way you were born. That's what Jesus would say. So, yeah, he would love everyone, but he wouldn't be, affirming any of this. And if you're going to sit in my chat and say that he would affirm it, eventually I'm going to just time you out, because I'm not going to have you confusing people about what Jesus would or wouldn't say. It's just not right. So that's that.
Estimate of the time frame. At the same time that Orange is the New Black was on, Laverne Cox was becoming popular, Caitlyn Jenner transitioned, this was considered kind of there was a boom around trans awareness. It was not a secret to everyone around me that I was the squeaky wheel, kind of in all situations. I was just a weird kid. I didn't fit in. It didn't make sense. I didn't make sense to everyone. So whenever people became more and more aware of transness, people started to kind of suggest it to me, hey, do you think you might be trans? Or I had one friend in high school who was I know that you're going to transition. My aunt said that she thought that I was going to transition. It was weird. So it was suggested to me a bunch of times. And then in a moment of desperation, I was getting out of a psych ward when I was 19. I thought maybe that unfillable pit in my stomach is because I'm supposed to be a woman.
Today's mental health professionals will absolutely not question that. They will validate that. That's the culture around trans issues here. And then if you look up in Canada, it's against the law for a mental health therapist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, to question if their patient or their client is thinking that they're transition at all. It's considered conversion therapy legally, and you can lose your license in Canada. So that is how far we've fallen. First of all, just coming out of a psych ward, that is clearly indicative of other issues happening. And one thing about it, like I said, the trans medical industry is over 100 years old. If you look back in the past, where often the truth is, we're under this false illusion that truth is always in the future, or we have to find the truth. Sometimes we knew the truth and we forgot it. When it comes to trans healthcare in the past, we're talking early 1900s, late 1800s, it was very different. Old institutions back in the day all had studies and had published papers, which are all now taboo, about how trans is to be a very highly rare, very selected group of people who have to meet an extreme kind of threshold to even go there. It was always seen as a last resort treatment for somebody who had persistent, insistent gender dysphoria, gender issues that went all the way through adulthood, that were present their entire lives all the way through adulthood. You had to literally live your adult life before making the decision. You could not be a teenager. And oftentimes it included private life investigations. They would look into your life and your work and your family and everything to make sure that you were not suffering from any sort of comorbidity. They often distinguished between fetishism, so that'd be cross-dressing, all the people you see out here now, people who are doing it because of unresolved trauma, because of sexual trauma, and they actually distinguished between people who were just homosexual, because oftentimes there's clearly this like spectrum of highly feminine gay men, just got a little bit of divine femininity in them, right? Who will, sometimes think that maybe they should be trans. And back in the day, they accounted for that. They were like, you're gay. Point is, they were very aware of other issues. And
right. And that's important. Also, someone said, me saying Jesus never preached against cross-dressing equals me saying Jesus would say trans rights. Come on, strawb, it's disingenuous, you know it. I'm not saying you're necessarily saying that, but yeah, there are people that say that. I don't know if you guys are aware, there are lots of people who, and I don't know if all of them even are Christians or claim to be Christians, I'm not sure, but there are a lot of people that love to weaponize Christianity against Christians. And when we say things like criticizing, the LGBT community and all of these different things, they like to say that Jesus actually would support all of these things and he would affirm all these things. I'm just being honest and saying that's not true. I'm saying it's not true. In terms of cross-dressing, I'm not a biblical scholar. What I would suggest you to do if you really want to know what the Bible says about it, I would say to read the Bible for yourself and to go to a Bible-believing church, one who really preaches from the Bible, not the ones that say Jesus is yikes, not the ones that say some of the Bible is yikes, not the ones that have the rainbow, around their neck and on the wall inside their church. But go to a regular church and ask them what they think. And ask multiple churches. I'm just telling you what Christians believe. What the majority of Bible-believing Christians believe is it's not this. So I'm just letting you know. I'm just being honest with you. Because, again, you can believe what you want to believe, but one thing I don't want to happen in my community is people, pretending that this is something that Christ would be okay with. It's just not. It's really not. And I'm not gonna allow people to be misled by you saying that Christ would be okay with something like this. He just wouldn't be.
So they had detransition rates, from what I can see and from my research, as low as 0.3% back in the day, because it was extremely rare. It was all adults. They all knew what they were getting into. So now you look at, okay, so if trans is this concept that goes back at least a century in the medical context, but even further, clearly just in terms of human nature, feminine males, masculine females, etc. But all these problems are arising now, 2020 and beyond seemingly, then what's different? Well, all these things that are considered gatekeeping that I just mentioned that they always used to believe in are all completely gone. I'm never the person to sit here and ever be pro-transition, by the way. I'm an individual on this planet, living my individual life, and what's right for me is not necessarily right for anybody else. In fact, it's probably not. However, I will say that at least back then, the proof was in the pudding. The reason why you never heard of detransitioners or even really trans people, despite it being such an old concept, you never really heard about them prior to this large politicization, is partly because the people who were transitioning them at the time with all these guidelines, they weren't really missing the mark, I should say. They were transitioning people who benefited from it and then blended into society and lived normal lives. And so not only did you not hear about people detransitioning, you didn't even really hear about people transitioning because it was this very rare, very private thing that they accounted for all the pitfalls that could make it an issue.
I mean, I will say too, it's just so clear that, and also I want to say, yeah, I wasn't directly talking about you. I don't want to I don't want anyone to feel like I'm necessarily targeting them unless they say something just, really bad in chat. I was just saying in general, people do like to, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, right? Where people will be like, oh, Jesus was like a hippie and he just was like, be nice, man, and all that stuff. It's like, there's just so much more to Christianity and to specifically following Jesus, right? Than just being nice to people and being nice. And what does being nice mean, yes, we should be kind, we should be loving, but that doesn't mean that you affirm sin. That doesn't mean that you say, oh, this is okay, this is good. It means that you love them, but you be honest about, what is sin and what is harming people, because ultimately, God isn't just some cosmic buzzkill. It might feel like that sometimes. There's a reason that he has the rules that he has for our lives. It's not just to be like, haha, you can't do this. Even if we can't understand why certain things are the way they are, we just have to trust that there is a reason for it. There is a reason for it, and he's not just doing it to try and hurt us all and to make us all upset. And there is a reason why he says what he says and why we believe what we believe because of it. Also, thank you. Come on, please just do it for the membership. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a little behind on that. I need to do better about that. But thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't say this with any malice. I just I want to make it clear. I'm not saying this with any malice at all. I fully am aware there are people that are trans in my chat right now. I love you as a person. As a person, you deserve dignity. You deserve respect. I don't agree with your choices. I don't agree that it's what's best for you, but that's because I do love you. And, some people might not understand that. Some people might think that I'm being hateful or bigoted or whatever word they want to use. But just know that it is coming from a good place, even if you can't understand. I never understood whenever I identified as LGBT, when I was in high school and even a little bit in college. I never understood why, my family weren't 100% on board. I didn't get it. I was annoyed by it, but I knew they loved me, And I think it's the same thing now, and I just wish that more people could see it that way and understand that just because someone doesn't necessarily affirm everything you do doesn't mean that they hate you. Excuse me. And it doesn't mean that they want bad things for you. And I am fully aware that there are Christians or people who say they're Christians. I won't ever say that someone is not a Christian, although the Bible does say we will know them by their fruit, but I digress. There are definitely people online who proclaim to be Christians that are hateful people that say horrendous things, including horrendous things to people in the trans community. They laugh at them. They make fun of the suicide rate. They make fun of all these things. They think it's funny. I think that's disgusting. I do not believe Jesus would be impressed with you. He would tell you to repent as well. So we should all be mindful of that, because it's not funny and it's not a joke. And you're doing something very wrong, and you should genuinely repent, because if you have Christ in your heart, you should feel bad. You should feel bad if you do stuff like that. I'm not saying you'll never, slip and do it. Someone might make you upset. You might see something that angers you, and in the heat of the moment, you act and you do something crazy. But then you should be able to feel conviction. You should be able to feel, wow, that was actually, I did not handle that great. Like, this is a serious thing, and this person is clearly struggling with something. And that's sad. And like, you should pray for that person, and you should want the best for that person. You shouldn't be laughing at them and saying, I hope they die. Like, that's just demonic. That's evil. And I will never understand that. I will never, never, never understand that. Never. And it's a problem that we see on Twitter all the time, including from right-wing accounts that are not Christians, or they might say they're Christians, but they don't act all that Christ-like all the time. And I'm not saying this to act like I'm holier than thou. I make my mistakes. I have made plenty of mistakes. I have been mean. We all sin, right? But we should try to do better, and you should feel bad when you do something bad. You should not want to be this way, This stuff shouldn't make you happy. But that's my soapbox on that. It really bothers me, and I see it a lot from right-wing accounts that also are not Christians, though. They're just right-wing. And I think that's when it can also be kind of a slippery slope, too, because, like, a lot of these people, they also will cherry pick from the Bible. And they'll take the more, like, wrathful, like, anything that, goes with their agenda, they'll take that. But then when it comes to, like, the kindness and forgiveness and the love of Jesus, they don't want to take that. They don't want to pick that up. They just want to take all the other stuff, and that's a problem as well. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate it so much. But, yeah, that's a whole separate rabbit hole that just really gets to me. I can't lie. But yeah, let's keep listening to Blaire.
Hey everyone, it's me, Maddie. I am a detransitioned woman, and today I was trying to think of another topic to talk about on here regarding my detransition. And the thing that came to mind is this. I have lost pretty much every single one of my friends from when I lived as transgender since I detransitioned. I have maybe one friend who's still consistently in my life who I met when I was living as trans. And mind you, I lived as transgender for about 6 years of my life. I was on testosterone for 5. I got a double mastectomy, and I fully transformed myself to look like a man. Which is pretty wild because I look like this now. I feel beautiful, and I'm happy to be here. But life has taken me for quite the ride. And I detransitioned, and at first I didn't even realize what was happening. And then I began to accept, oh yes, I am accepting that I am a woman, finally. And then I felt the call to speak out on my journey, and it was really that caused me to lose the last few of my friends that were still hanging on.
Isn't that so
Yeah, because it's like, I feel like for a lot of people in the trans community, it's like, if you're detransitioning, that in and of itself isn't necessarily always the problem. I think it's more about speaking out about it that people have an issue with, because they take it as an attack, right? So if they're like, you can detransition, but do it quietly. Don't speak about it. Don't talk about your experience. Don't talk about things that you went through, especially like if you were a child. I don't know if this person transitioned at all when they were a child, but like, yeah, it's okay if you do it quietly, but the moment you start speaking about it, it's a problem. And that's obviously when this person lost all of her friends, which is sad because, again, I can just relate. Like, I can relate to this so hard, and I didn't even go through that. Again, I can't imagine what it's like to go through that. That's like a whole physical and emotional thing in and of itself to be detransitioning, right? To make that choice for yourself. I can't even imagine what it would take to make that choice for yourself after you had went through everything that you did go through to transition, right? Because it's a lot to do, and then to make the choice to detransition and to actually go through with that. I mean, that's just a lot in and of itself, right? But then to lose like all of your friends, it's just, I can relate to that, and it's just heartbreaking. Like, it really sucks. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it for you. It sucks. It's not fun to lose your friends. It's not fun to have people that you've known for years and years that you love and you care about, and you quite literally like mourn them like they died. Whenever those kind of friendships just like end, you go from hanging out all the time, seeing them all the time, years like living together and being like siblings almost, to just like nothing. And it's like you're mourning someone, and it's just really sad, and it's crappy, I can't lie. I was having a really bad day the other day because it was the birthday of one of my friends that now we're no longer friends because of my opinions on these types of things. And I literally was like just so sad thinking about her, and it just sucks. I'm gonna be honest, it just sucks. I was really sad, and I just kept thinking, I was like, does she think about me? Does she still, I don't know. I don't want to go there. I don't want to get emotional. John, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. They always try to hold you to a standard that they themselves do not have to comply with. Yeah, and that's why we really can't take what any of these people say too seriously, especially when it does come to talking about like, oh, like I have people all the time tell me like, Jesus would hate you. Don't you know Jesus would hate you? And I'm just like, Jesus would not hate me, and he would not hate you either. Jesus loves everybody. Like, what do you mean Jesus would hate me? Like, no. just to say that, though, just to say the words Jesus would hate you is just so indicative of the fact that that person does not know who Jesus is. And so we can't allow people who say things like that to us to affect us and to affect our walk with Christ and to influence how we see our relationship with God, because it just like, quite honestly, when they say things like that, it just doesn't matter because it's just not true. Yeah, so he does love you. So, and he loves me too. He doesn't hate us. He hates sin, but not, us. He doesn't hate us, but he does hate sin, obviously. But, yeah.
Indicative of the cult aspect we were talking about before. Community is extremely important to human beings. It always will be, and that's why this is such a problem. How can we prevent this going forward? Are there people watching right now, for which I know there are, who are questioning, is it the right move? Is it not? I'm going to let you know right now, if it's because you're around trans friends, if it's because, and really search yourself, like explore your own psyche. You have to question yourself, right? Am I doing this for the favor of a group of people or a political identity or to be included in something? And sometimes it's not always conscious. So that's why I say really question yourself. But it's just not, lost on me that almost all of them have this story about how it includes the social circle aspect. And then that social circle is dissolved because, go figure, it was based on something that was fake. It was based on you thinking these people saw the real you, but as soon as the real you became inconvenient to them, you were out. That's called a cult.
They told you what was going to happen.
And I'll say, that was Blaire's take. I will say, if you're questioning, just know the answer should be no. That you were born either as a male or a female, and that is not wrong, and that is right. And that is what you are, and that's what you should stay. And I think if you're struggling in certain ways, you should reach out to people. You need help. It's a serious thing. There is help available for you, and the answer doesn't need to be transition. It doesn't need to be hormones. It doesn't need to be surgery. I mean, even Blaire said, it used to be like the last resort. And personally, I don't even think it should be a resort, like in my personal opinion, but if you're at all questioning or struggling with these things, like, it's not the answer. It's just not the answer. You are perfect the way you were made. You are beautiful or handsome. You don't need to get the validation from other groups of people. You don't need to change to fit in, to be different or to be, unique or special. You're already those things. You don't need to do these things to feel that way. And if you are struggling with gender dysphoria, you need to reach out and get some help and talk about it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to transition, but at least talk to someone first. Talk to someone and explain what you're going through, and let a professional help you, and preferably a professional that's not going to push these things onto you, but really just listen to you first and hear your story and hear what you've gone through. And maybe there's something that they can get at that's a deeper issue that could help, And ultimately, again, I believe if you have any kind of problem, whether it's, you're struggling with gender dysphoria, whether it's you're depressed, whether it's you're anxious, whether it's whatever it is, and I know you guys are going to laugh at me, it might sound cringe if you're not a Christian, but if you lay it at the feet of Jesus and you give it to him and you say, God, I don't know what to do anymore about this. I'm struggling. I need your help. Please help me. At least give me peace. Give me the strength to deal with this. Even if you can't take it away from me, just give me the strength to know how to handle things and how to deal with this. And give me the strength to just wake up the next morning, He will give you peace. He will give you strength. If you ask for it, he will give it to you. He is merciful and he loves you. And I mean that.
And before you started testosterone. So really it's your fault. You should have been paying more attention. See, but they didn't though. They told me the outwardly observable effect that I would immediately notice. Like that my voice was going to drop. Not that my vocal cords were going to dramatically thicken. And that a lot of women's larynxes aren't big enough to accommodate that thickness, meaning that my voice just always hurts. I snored last night, apparently, because my throat has hurt all day. It also means that I can't scream or raise my voice above a certain volume. They told me that I might experience vaginal dryness, not that the cells in my gynecological and urological anatomy are highly estrogen dependent, and that depleting them of that estrogen by going on testosterone is almost certainly going to cause them to irreversibly atrophy.
Yep.
To losing the ability to give vaginal birth, to urinary incontinence and pelvic floor dysfunction.
This is also why I often...
These are things that people need to know about. Again, even if you are pro-LGBT, you should want people to be aware of these things. These things matter. They are important. And I would hope that people would want people to be fully educated and aware of all the things that can come with these things. Because again, I just hear it all the time. I went to college. I was in women's studies classes. I've talked about it before. In those classes, we talked about, gender, sexuality, all these things. And it was very much pushed on us that all these things are very reversible. That hormones are very reversible. Everything is very reversible. There's no damage. There's no long-term damage. Everything is just reversible. That's just not the truth. It's just not true, and they need to be honest about the truth so people can make informed decisions. Because it's just not right to sell people this fantasy of what transition will do for you when it's just not the case. At least for clearly a lot of people, it's just not the case.
And say, if you're out there and you're debating these issues and you're someone who's against children transitioning, which you should be, the only real argument you need to make, in my opinion, the most powerful one, is just the fertility argument. The idea that you take away a child's fertility when they are a child, there is zero wiggle room on that. And this is the argument that I've seen effectuate the actual most change in people, is them understanding that there actually is no wiggle room around the fertility argument. Yeah, there's no excuse or justification for getting rid of people's children's fertility and ability to have children while they are still children, that there simply is no argument why it should be happening to these people. And it's incredibly sad. When I talk about detransitioners, I do it because I know for a fact it literally saves people from going down the wrong road themselves. I get messages and emails all the time saying, thank you for just making it clear the differences between happy trans people and unhappy trans people, so I can decipher what it is my own psychology is doing and how my own brain is toying with this, and maybe it stops me from making certain decisions. I have countless emails and DMs like that. I meet people on the streets who say that. And so that's the importance of having a 360 conversation, not just one side where we're only supposed to talk about how transition saves your life and it's super great and nothing's bad, especially when there's an elephant in the room right now of a huge tidal wave of detransitioners, and they need to be addressed, they need to be accounted for, they need to be cared for. It's a problem and it's not going anywhere. Thanks again to Free Cash for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you guys...
That was I feel like very informative, and I just think that this conversation is one that needs to be happening, and the fact that anyone wants to shut up a detransitioner, they don't want them to speak, they don't want them to have the space to speak, it's just wrong. And I don't see how anyone with any, I don't know, like moral compass, like how you could disagree with that, you know? Like, it's just sad. It's awful. And that's really all I have to say about that. You know, that covered a lot of stuff. I was gonna show another video talking about some of the dangers of the transitioning, specifically from female to male, but that pretty much covered a lot of it. You know, I wasn't aware. I knew there was dangers, but when it comes to the atrophy, in the other video that I was going to show, it was talking about, like I said, specifically female to male, but they were talking about, you know, how like if you are someone who is a biological woman and you take testosterone for years and years and years, eventually your organs, because your body, no matter what, will always be biologically a woman. So if you're injecting yourself with this testosterone for so long, these organs, they need estrogen to function, and so eventually they will begin to atrophy. People are told they need different surgeries to remedy these things. Some people go into, you know, I think it was kidney failure. I don't know if it was liver failure. All these different things can happen as a result of basically putting hormones in your body that don't belong there, that are not natural. And I just think that it's really important that people are aware of these things before they make these decisions. Because if you're someone who thinks, you know, I feel like I'm trans and this will change my life and this will make everything better, you should be aware of all of these things. And this should not be like something that you do just like, I don't know, I don't want to say willy-nilly, because I do know that there is some, you know, there is some stuff that goes into it, and as far as like talking to a therapist and things. But I mean, clearly this stuff is pushed on people, and it's just not right. So that's pretty much all there is with that topic. We're going to move on now to, I wanted to react to this video. Amala did this video on the UK refuses to face the truth. Totally different topic change, but this seemed pretty interesting to me, so I'm curious what it's all about. So let's watch it together.
I was taken away by the police. My mum couldn't believe it.
I'll start over. I don't know what he said in the beginning.
I just got all my devices taken away by the police. My mum couldn't believe it. I might get a criminal record and not be able to go to college. I only shared a link. I just thought it was funny. But it was terrorist content. And that is not a game. It's real life.
Guys, this is so dystopian. Can you imagine? I just thought it was a Nick Fuentes video, but it was terrorism. And now I've changed my life. Let's talk about it.
It's like you shared a link and now you're going to prison? What?
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Today, welcome to another episode of What the Hell is Going On in the UK. Every now and then, we have to check in on the United Kingdom because you guys are going crazy. I'm just gonna say it. As an American,
Yeah, and like, I'm gonna be real, as an American, it's scary to see what happens in the UK because I feel like we're not that different. You know what I mean? Like we are different, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like what's happening in the UK could very easily end up happening in the US, and I do not want that to happen because this stuff is terrifying. Like, people are literally being jailed for just sharing their opinions on the internet. Like, there is no free speech in the UK anymore. You think about countries like the UK, you think about how similar they are to the US and all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, it's a Western nation, blah, blah. There is no free speech there. You do not have free speech like you do in the US, and we should be doing everything we can to make sure that we keep our free speech. Because it's a very slippery slope when you start talking about hate speech and you start trying to censor people. You don't want to make the mistake of, someone that you don't like is saying something you don't like, so you try to censor them. It's always going to come back to bite you. And while we do need to be aware of threats and obviously you can't just go and harass people and call to action and things like that, we shouldn't be jailing people for having just basic opinions and sharing information on the internet. It's concerning. So
who's probably we're kind of on this track a little bit, it seems like. You guys are off the rails at this point. This was posted on the Terrorism Police Instagram page. And this is an organization, I guess, in the UK that is supposedly counterterrorism. They're trying to fight terrorism in the United Kingdom. They posted this, and it's just blowing my mind. This is what they feel like is a PSA that the public needs to see.
I just got all my devices taken away by the police. My mum couldn't believe it. I might get a criminal record and not be able to go to college. I only shared a link.
I'm sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping a straight face with his accent. I might get a criminal record. I just shared a video online. Sorry to my British audience, but they're trying to make it so serious. I just can't. This is crazy.
I just thought it was funny.
But
it was terrorist content.
It's terrorist content.
It's not a game.
It's not a game.
It's real life.
The editing too. That editing. It does look like a parody. It looks like a parody. This is posted on their official terrorism police account. What in the propaganda?
It's terrorist content. And that is not a game. Now I had to look up the terrorism police on Instagram. I got my phone here. We're going to check it out. And I want to see the caption that they've put on this particular post. It says, has your child spotted our latest campaign on their feed? We launched a digital campaign aimed at teenage boys to highlight the real-world consequences of sharing harmful extremist content online. The content is being promoted on platforms young people already use to reach them where they are. Our message is simple. Sharing extremist material can lead to serious legal and life-changing consequences. It's not just a laugh. What you share leaves a trace. Learn more about the campaign and the message behind it via the link in our story. Can we be so for real right now? Are you serious? Is this really this demographic? Let's pull up this boy's face. And first of all, I don't even know if this is AI or a real human being who signed up to be the actor in this. This is your terrorist threat in the UK.
Yeah, who is this kid? Yeah, this young boy is the terrorist threat in the UK. Right. I've heard the UK has some other problems, but interesting. Very, very interesting.
Look me dead in my face and tell me that's your terrorism threat in the UK. You know that it's not. We all know that it's not. But I guess since Netflix put out Adolescence, this is just the narrative that we're going with. That it's the white man, and in particular in the UK, the young male
white boy
that is the terroristic threat in the UK. Are we not tired? I think we're tired. And I can't help but notice that this kid looks a lot like the kid who was cast in Adolescence. And since then, we've seen just in the West in general, this sort of campaign against young white males. In
we have a stereotype. It's the young white boys. They're coming for us with this drip.
Australia recently, they put out some magazine about young white men being a threat and how do we stop young boys from growing into monsters. We're hearing very similar sentiments here in the US. I don't think that young white males are your problem, but that's the narrative that we're moving forward with. And there's been time after time where we've seen these ideologies of the actual realistic problem in the UK and this delusional problem in the UK clash. There was this clip from the BBC where Kemi Badenoch, which shout out Kemi Badenoch, she is a conservative politician in the UK who's been very outspoken on a number of issues. But the one we've covered the most is the Pakistani rape gangs that have been an issue in the UK for decades now. And this should be something that we're allowed to talk about, that we can talk about the facts about without being called anti-multiculturalism or without being called racist or bigots or whatever the word is that they want to throw at you. Now, she's on the BBC to talk about the UK's real issues. And they ask her whether or not she's watched Adolescence.
Have you watched Adolescence yet?
No, I haven't. I probably won't. It's a film on Netflix, and most of my time right now is spent visiting the country.
Most of my time right now is spent actually visiting the real citizens of the UK. Actually,
yeah, she's like, I'm actually busy. I actually do things. I have like a really like important job. So like, no, I'm probably not going to watch this entire like TV show on Netflix that I don't care to watch.
Tackling their issues. For those of you that don't know, Adolescence is a Netflix miniseries that was made to follow this young little white kid who gets arrested for, I believe, the sexual assault and murder of a young girl. And it is unveiled throughout the series that he got a lot of his influence from online forums and websites, and that he was holding these deeply misogynistic beliefs that came from, external influences outside of his family, that his parents were not controlling, and that this could happen to any young white man.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the internet can't radicalize people. I think the internet can radicalize like anyone. But, clearly they are playing into a specific stereotype. I think it's just interesting, though, that on that show that they would ask her if she had seen it. Like, I don't really know what that has to do with what she was talking about. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but the internet can definitely radicalize anybody. I will say that. We got some dark parts of the internet for lots of people, but it's not just young white boys. It could radicalize anybody. And we see that. And that's obviously not great either. How you fix that, I'm not entirely sure, other than parents watch your children and be aware of what they're doing. But unfortunately, clearly a lot of parents are not doing that, and they're either unaware or they don't care. And it's sad.
And we need to do something about this. And we all have the joke about what Netflix puts out versus the reality. And people are constantly making jokes about that. But now it's not just what Netflix puts out versus the reality. It's what the literal terrorism police in your country put out versus the reality of what's happening in your country.
Yeah. It's a 4-part series on Netflix, and everyone is talking about it. It is prompting conversations about toxic masculinity, smartphone use, young men feeling that they're being ignored, the idea of misogyny being increased in school. Why would you not want to know what people are talking about?
Well, I think that those are all important issues, and those were issues that I've been talking about for a long time.
Why are they trying to come at her like that? Like that woman, the way she's talking, she's like, why would you not want to be aware of these things? Like, it's a freaking Netflix show, bro. Like, she doesn't want to watch this Netflix series. It doesn't mean she doesn't care about things. Like, why are you trying to make her out to be some person that just doesn't care about? I don't know. That's just such a stupid thing to do. It's like, don't you want to know? Aren't you curious? Don't you want to know what's going on? It's a Netflix show. It's literally just a Netflix show. You're acting like it's some super important, how have you not seen this? It's a Netflix show. Now she doesn't want to. She doesn't have the time to watch the show. She's busy. But you just don't care. You just don't care about all these things, and you're just a bad person because you don't want to watch my Netflix show. It's like, what are we talking about here?
But in the same way that I don't need to watch Casualty to know what's going on in the NHS, I don't need to watch a specific Netflix drama to understand what's going on. It's a fictional series.
Yes.
It's not a documentary. What I've been talking about recently, for instance, is banning smartphones in schools. I've been going to schools all around the country. I was in Evesham just yesterday, talking to head teachers, talking to the students, and they talk about the problems that phones are causing.
The difference this documentary has made.
Why are you cutting her off? Also, it's not a documentary. Why are you calling it a documentary? It's a TV show. It's a fake, fictional TV show. Who is this lady? What is she doing? What are you talking about? Like, also, why are you talking over... I shouldn't say that. I was going to make a joke and say, why are you talking over the black woman? Let her speak. She's actually cooking, though. She's like, what is this woman even saying?
Compared to, say, a politician, any politician, leader of a party, the prime minister, going around talking in schools, this has made much more of an impact than any politician has.
Are you joking? Are you joking? How unbelievable is it to be a politician who's actually trying to go out and talk to real people about real issues, talk to real victims of crimes? With her work on the Pakistani rape gangs, she's talking to women and girls who have been victimized on multiple occasions by these rape gangs that are running around all over the country. And to say that the Netflix show Adolescence was more impactful than the work that this woman will be doing, boots on the ground talking to people, is absolutely insane. Is the Netflix show more...
We live in a dystopia, chat. That is so disrespectful. That is actually, like, insane. What?
Impactful than the wide-scale investigation that she tried to set forward into these Pakistani rape gangs? I think not. I think it's more impactful to be working with the actual victims of these crimes instead of watching a fictionalized version of what is not going on in the United Kingdom. And this whole terrorism clip thing of this young boy, which is clearly influenced by things like Adolescence, really speaks to what UK law enforcement is focusing on. They're going after people for hate speech, things that they've posted online, memes, stickers even.
Yeah, like people are getting jailed. Sorry, that's a bad arresting for her. People are getting jailed. People are knocking on doors over memes, over sharing just your opinion on Twitter. And they're getting knocks on their door. Some people are actually getting sent to jail for just posting a meme, for sharing an opinion on something. Like, this is actually crazy. And this is what they want to devote their time and their resources to. Like, they have all these other issues, you know, and they want to devote all their time and resources to these things. Now, again, if someone's online, like, threatening things, like, you know, we've seen sometimes with, like, well, this is more of a thing in the US, right? But, like, with shooters and stuff, like, we've seen, like, sometimes when you'll find their social media accounts, like, before the shooting happened, like, you might find their account and it's, like, pretty alarming. And you're like, how did no one catch this? Like, how did no one see this? How did no one, you know, find this person? And so those types of situations, I can understand, like, investigating if someone's, you know, threatening people or, you know, making calls to action, like saying they're going to go do something really, like, illegal. I can understand more so looking into those things, but just someone sharing an opinion, I'll never understand.
These individuals and trying to bring them to justice when in reality, here in the US, what we would call that is exercising free speech. Yep. But I guess that's not valued over there, at least not by law enforcement and some of these larger institutions. It's why we have examples of things like this happening. Update with sentence. Far-right organizer found guilty of intent to stir up racial hatred through distribution of stickers. Now, this was a white man who was putting stickers up, I guess, around the UK that covered the issue of the demographic changes that are happening in the UK's population, and in particular, the replacement of white people as far as demographics are showing over time, which is true. It's an actual thing that's happening. But he was arrested and found guilty of intent to stir up racial hatred through distribution of stickers. So when that little boy goes, I thought it was funny, I didn't know it was terrorism, that's actually what's taking place. I just cannot. It boggles my mind. It makes my head want to explode.
Like, you can think whatever you want to think about all these different things, like whenever it comes to your political opinions and beliefs, like, but to jail someone over a sticker? What are we doing? Like, and people will be like, oh yeah, well that was racist, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, how would you like it if they jailed you for your sticker talking about trans rights? And they said, that's bad, like blah, 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 so we should just throw you in jail. And it's a slippery slope, right? Where, you know, you're cool with one thing and all of a sudden they're coming for you next. We should not, no one should think this is okay. Nobody should be supporting this. Like, nobody on any side. It's crazy.
Listening to some of these stories. Meanwhile, in the UK, we also have clips like this. Here's Keir Starmer, which we have our feelings about Keir over here. I've gotten into that in other videos. Talking about the modern face of Britain. Now, what do you believe to be the modern face of Britain? I guess he thinks it's Muslims.
We must be defined. It is defined by the success, the brilliance, and the creativity in rooms like this, by contribution that Muslims make to Britain's story and to our national life. In public service, you are the face of modern Britain. I know that I love and the Britain that we are.
And there you go. And this was, of course, in celebration / observance of Ramadan that he made this speech saying that Muslims are the face of modern Britain. And I in no way, shape, or form want to discount law-abiding Muslim citizens in the UK who have made major contributions to the nation itself. But when you couple that with this like terrorism police, little white boy who's the real threat of terrorism in the UK, you're simply not telling the truth. And alongside this video comes a few.
I think it's a very, I like Amala because I feel like she's very real. Like she's just honest. She's just, and I really like a lot of her takes because she's just real. She tells you what she believes, even whether it's gonna upset one side or the other. But I think she's just a very good content creator.
Little stats that we'll read here. UK Muslims are 6.5% of the population, the total population in the UK. 97% of terror deaths since 2000, 84% of child gang rapes, 18% of prisoners, 6,000 female genital mutilations a year, 48.6% of 16 to 64 not employed, 27% in social housing. We can also move to Wikipedia here, where it's stated that Islamic terrorism represents 67% of attacks since 2018, 75% of MI5's caseload, and 64% of those in custody for terrorism-connected offenses, according to a 2023 contest report. So let's go back to our video here. Is this the face of UK terrorism? Okay, or is it the modern face of Britain, according?
I think it's the face that's socially acceptable to talk about terrorism. But the moment that you talk about terrorism from someone who isn't like a white guy, or even just a white person in general, it's like automatically deemed that you're racist and all these other things, which I think is it's just sad because, you know, if someone's a terrorist, someone's a terrorist, right? Like it really doesn't matter what your race is. And no one should be offended by that. No one should be called racist for just pointing out these things. But we live in a crazy world, so.
According to Keir Starmer. Let's just tell the truth. Let's just tell the truth. And instead we put out these like propaganda pieces that are influenced by Netflix miniseries, which are not
yeah, the Netflix miniseries, which is just so important and has done so much work, and it was falsely called a documentary. It's not, and but it's just so good, and it's done so much work for the world, and more work than the people that have boots on the ground doing the journalism and going and actually talking with real victims of crimes. But no, the Netflix documentary, that's not a documentary. It's just so good.
Documentaries, like your BBC co-host would call it, they are fiction. They are works of fiction. They are completely and utterly
like fiction, like dramatized, like to entertain you. Like, do people not realize that like a Netflix show, its job is to entertain? Especially like a fictional Netflix series, its job is to first and foremost get views and entertain you. It's not to get everything historically accurate and correct. It's just, oh my gosh.
Made up. The reality is, in the UK, you're arresting people for distributing stickers and posting certain things online, and then covering up your eyes when people go, wait a minute, in the last, 3 decades, we've had tens of thousands of people abused, young white girls in particular, by Pakistani rape gangs in this country. And when you read into what is alleged by some of these victims of these Pakistani rape gangs, I cannot put into words what these young girls have experienced. I urge you guys to look into the police reports. Some of these young girls were raped in taxis and in cars, taken to secondary locations, raped again by a multitude of men, driven in another taxi or car where they were sexually assaulted again, to a police station only to be sexually assaulted at the police station itself. These are the types of stories that we're talking about. Some of these girls did not survive their encounters with these men. And what do we call that? I don't know. Apparently this is the face of terrorism in the UK, even though every single stat that we have completely negates that reality. Meanwhile, we're arresting people for stickers. You have Graham Linehan, the comedian responsible for Father Ted, arrested at Heathrow over X posts. And then I guess the main part of the thing that he did wrong, the main crime that he perpetrated, was just talking about the biological reality of men and women and the fact that there's a difference, okay?
I'm scared. Am I going to jail? Like, brother, if I lived in the UK, would I get a knock on my door for saying men and women are different and that you're born what you're born as? I mean, this is terrifying. That's scary. Like, this is, scary. That is actually disturbing, to be quite honest with you. And even if you're someone who disagrees with me when it comes to, my take on that, it should still bother you. It should still concern you. Because, again, they're coming for you too. It's just... We live in a dystopia. I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror, and I hope and I pray this is not the direction the US goes. I mean, I think it's already it's tilted that way a little bit, but we're nowhere near where the UK is, and I just pray we never get there. I pray the UK somehow gets out of this, because this is terrifying.
Calling out the trans issues that the UK is also facing. These are your modern day terrorists. This guy, the sticker guy, and this little 14-year-old white kid, because he looks the same as the kid in adolescence, and that was such a moving piece of fictional documentation of a fictional problem. Be so fucking for real, terrorism police. Be so fucking for real, United Kingdom. Be so fucking for real, Keir Starmer. I'm sorry. Maybe I could have been nicer in talking about this issue and displaying the reality, but hey, somebody's got to do it, because this is actually what's going on in the United Kingdom. Now, as I said at the top of this video, we are experiencing similar issues here in the US, although it doesn't seem to be quite as bad as your terrorism police posting a possibly AI video of a little white boy and blaming him for terrorism. We're still nonetheless on a very similar track, and let's hope we can get off of it. And I think one way in which we get off of that is telling the truth. So here it is, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I encourage healthy debates. So if you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully in the comments. And if you like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
I love her. Yeah, next person getting a knock on their door in the US would be Amala and me. We're that's crazy though, right? Is that not insane? Is that not actually insane, chat? This should, like, concern us all. This should concern every single person watching this. I don't care who you are. You should be concerned. Like, free speech is so important. Yeah, insane is an understatement, yeah. Wasn't it UK that wanted to pull their weight on online censorship via outlawing Twitter? I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. It's scary though. Like, I'm scared. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm a little scared, I can't lie, but God is good all the time. Doesn't mean that he will not let bad things happen, but we can trust that he has a plan, even if it's a little scary and we don't understand. I am concerned, and we should be concerned though, right? Because, like, it affects us, and we should do everything we can to fight against this stuff. And I agree with what Amala said. Like, the first step is talking about this. Like, we should talk about this. We should talk about especially what's happening in the UK, so that more people are aware of it here, and so that people can see, like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, some guy's going to jail over stickers. Like, we're putting people away for stickers? You know? It's just concerning, for sure. But, you know, we live in an interesting time, but I'm grateful that we're able to talk about it, that I'm able to have a platform and speak about these things openly and pretty openly, and be able to talk to you guys about it. I appreciate you guys for being good sports today. I know today's stream was a little heavy in terms of topics, but I think for the most part, everyone handled it pretty well, and I appreciate people being respectful. It's just like heavy topics, right? But someone's got to talk about it, and I want to talk about it, so I talked about it. Did I hear that right? Someone is being jailed over stickers? I just opened the stream. Yeah, I'm gonna clip this into a video, and I'll upload it eventually this week. But yeah, we reacted to Amala Ekpunobi. I always butcher her last name. But we reacted to her video about the UK and just their free speech crisis that they're having, because it's really bad over there right now. It's really bad, chat. So yeah, I just really hope that the US doesn't go down that route, because I just don't even know how you come back from that. Like, once you put those things into law, I really don't know how you come back from it, you know? But, yeah, it's not good. But yeah, stream today was pretty good though. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed, the stream. If you didn't see, there's only 3 days left to get my keychain. It's pinned in chat if you're curious or interested. We have sold 81 keychains, guys. That's crazy. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, so good. Also, I just got the rest of my plushie, like my final plushie photos for the plushie release. They look so cute. Oh my goodness, they're like so HD and they look so good. I think maybe on stream tomorrow I'll do a goal. I was gonna do a goal today and then I kind of just forgot about it, but that's fine. I should do goals more often. I feel like they're like fun. I might do a goal tomorrow though to show it off. Also, I'm gonna have more waiting rooms up either later today or tomorrow. I just kind of had a long morning this morning. I was dealing with a bunch of stuff and I wasn't able to get all my waiting rooms up, but I'm trying to get them up like earlier in the week, so they're up for the whole week. So yeah. Also, I don't know, what do you guys think about like my titles? Like I feel like my title, like for instance today, the title's like pretty vague. Do you care if it's a vague title? Do you think I should like make my titles less vague? I guess it's like I don't always really know exactly what I'm gonna talk about until like right before stream. But I guess I could always change the title. Like, but is the title too vague? Or do you care? I also just don't want to make the title the same thing I would make a video, you know? I don't know. We're just yapping. I feel like people probably don't actually care. I feel like streaming... I feel extremely, overwhelmingly meh about your titles. I don't know what that is. Does that mean like you just don't care? I mean, I don't think it really matters. I think most people are probably just like, I just genuinely do not care. The titles are fine. I'm genuinely grateful to have been able to get informed and mostly have fun hanging around with y'all in chat. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean, my goal is ultimately to inform people and let people hear about things. Yeah, I tell you, I love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who mistreat you and persecute you. Yes, that's wise words right there. You can always change it so you do you. Better those clickbait titles that do it to bump views. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know, I struggle to come up with titles for my streams, honestly. I sit there, I overthink it. I was gonna make my title something really weird today. Like, I don't even know where it came from. I was like thinking like, what do I do? Like, I don't know. I came up with like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't even know what made me think of it. We weren't even gonna talk about airplanes today, but I was like, what's the deal with airline food? I was like, why would I make that my title? I'm not talking about airplanes. Like I was like, I'm not doing that. Why? I'm like, it's funny to just me and no one else. Like, that has nothing to do with today. I was like looking up like I'm like, is there any topic about airplanes I could talk about for that? So maybe if we talk about airplanes at some point, I might use that as a title. That could be kind of funny. But I'm like, that's so irrelevant to like, I don't even know what made me think of it. I was just like, what's the deal with airline food? And then I was like, that's stupid. I'm just gonna put like chatting and reacting to stuff. I don't know. Honestly, just saying that fried me. I mean, literally, this is like my brain. I'm like, bro, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, the blank situation is insane. That's like a Rev thumbnail or Rev title right there. I guess I could do that with one of my videos though, you know, because I struggle with like, I don't want my my stream like thumbnail and titles to be like the exact same as like my video thumbnail and titles. You know, because then it's like, I feel like it might get confusing if they're too similar. You should name the stream, I'm not going to talk about it, then people guessing what it is and never confirm. Probably. The stuff part really sold the title. You know, I thought it was a pretty good title, you know, like, I mean, it was a pretty good title. Talking, hearing myself talk. Reacting and chatting and stuff, you know, it was very straightforward, very honest. That's me, you know, I'm very, very straightforward, very honest. I'm honest to a fault, which, you know, gets me in trouble sometimes, I guess, but hey, I wouldn't have it any other way because I just want to be true to myself. And, you know, I feel like if you can be true to yourself, then that's what really matters, right? Because at the end of the day, you gotta be the one to go to bed and live with yourself. And if you can go to bed at night and sleep and live with yourself, I think you're doing pretty good. If you can't do that, you should ask yourself why you can't do that. You know, what's keeping you up at night? Being vague for comedic effect pays off, works the imagination. Yeah, I'm working your imagination right now. Also, sorry I haven't done any daily devotionals. I've been really, the last few days have honestly just been super hectic for me. Especially the last couple days, I was like, I'm not doing any content, I'm not dealing with this. And then today, my morning was just so hectic. I was on the phone for like an hour dealing with stuff. I was running around doing chores and getting laundry done, and then I was trying to set up stuff for stream. Then I had like some weird mic issues. I don't know what's going on with my mic. My Focusrite is like being super weird for some reason. Like usually it makes different colors, but like it wasn't making the colors that it usually makes. Like, I don't know, I had to turn my gain up even more than usual. I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. Ever since I plugged in the cloud lifter, I mean, I think the audio sounds decent. I think I was testing my audio for a while today and like trying to get everything to sound right, because I don't know, I updated the drivers or whatever for it, and I was like trying to research what was going on. I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, did I break my Focusrite? And then it was like, no, actually you really can't break a Focusrite with a cloud lifter. Because I was like, did I fry my microphone? Like, I don't know. And it was like, no, you can't do that, like blah blah blah. But like the cloud lifter is supposed to make it a lot louder, and I think it does, but I still have to add additional gain on Streamlabs. Maybe it's just I mean, I hear that I have the Shure SM7B. I hear that apparently like it's already like a pretty like it doesn't get super loud. I guess it needs a lot of power for like gain and stuff, and I guess like I have like a softer voice, and maybe that is like a part of it. I don't know. What's the stream schedule for this week? Sorry I haven't posted it yet, but my streams are always the same, so the times are the same. So I don't have the wait can't talk. I don't have the waiting rooms up, but they're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. EST. Fridays are members only 11 a.m. EST, which I might move those to 2 p.m. I don't know. 11 a.m. is feeling kind of early, but then also it's kind of nice to have it done early on a Friday, so it's like, oh, Friday. I don't know, I'll think about it. I gotta think about it more. And then on Wednesdays, we do the Bible study, which I'm actually not going to be at the Bible study this week in the Discord. I have some family obligations to attend to Wednesday during the day. However, I did get someone else in the Discord to agree to lead it. So it's still happening. Wednesday, same time as usual. We're on week 4 now of the study. So if you're still wanting to come, you can still come, and I'm just not going to be there. But I'll see you the next Wednesday. Excuse me. Strawb, I missed the daily devotionals you used to post. I was posting them a lot. The last couple days I haven't posted them though. I've been really busy. That's what I was saying a couple minutes ago. But I wanna post more. Maybe I'll get one out later today. If not, I'll try to get one out tomorrow. I want to be intentional about doing them, but I just have had I've had a lot of things going on. And I never want it to be like a thing where I'm like forcing myself necessarily, because like, I don't know, I don't want it to ever feel like a chore to do one. I want it to be something that I genuinely want to do and like feel like motivated and led to do. But that being said, like I want to do them more. I've just been busy the last couple of days, but I appreciate you guys enjoying them. Good luck with the family obligations. Yeah, it should be fun. Seeing some family that I haven't seen in a while. So that'll be nice, because it's always good to spend time with family and do all the things and the stuff. So yeah, that'll be good. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. I know they're called daily devotionals, but they're not actually every single day. But like, it's still like the daily devotional, you know, because like that's what it is when I get it out of my app or whatever. But I've been using the Bible app for the devotionals because they're pretty good. I like them. But yeah. Chat. I can't lie, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy, chat. I could take a nap right now. I probably shouldn't. I probably should, like, I don't know, do something else productive with my day. I sound really eepy. This stream took a lot out of me, okay? I'm tired now. I can't take a nap at 5 p.m. though, because then I'm gonna be I'll be up like late because I'm really bad at taking short naps. Like if I lay down and sleep, I'm gonna be out for at least an hour, if not a couple hours. So then it's like what, 7:30. Bro, I can't wake up from a nap at 7:30. That's crazy. Taking a lie down but not sleeping can help. You always say that, and that's actually true. Sometimes just laying down and like resting a little bit can help. But I'm also really guilty of like if I do lay down and I get too comfortable, I'm gonna be out like a light. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know. I won't sleep later if I do that. And it's also been like harder because of the time change, you know, because we had the time, whatchamacallit, like we lost an hour. We lost an hour, which I feel offended. Although I will say I like it better when it's lighter, lighter, darker. Can you tell I'm tired? When it's lighter, later. I like when it's lighter, later. I like when it's lighter, darker. I like when it's lighter, later, but also I feel like I got scammed out of an hour of sleep. And now it's like, you know, for at least a few days, we'll start, at least a few days to a week, we'll be like, you know, it's actually, it says it's 7 o'clock, it's actually 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? I know it says that it's 7 p.m., but it's actually 6 p.m. Or is it 8 p.m.? Right now it's 5 o'clock, but we lost an hour, so it would have been 4 o'clock. Yeah. It would be yeah. See, I'm so smart. I know these things. My brain is like, what is going on? I also have had no caffeine today. Which, honestly, I'm not even a huge caffeine person. Like, I mean, I definitely benefit from caffeine, but I don't really drink that much caffeine. I get most of my caffeine I either get from tea or Diet Coke. But I haven't had anything today besides water, and I had a little bit of Mountain Dew. I don't think those have it in them though. Mountain Dew doesn't have. I can't even think of the word now. My brain's not working. My last brain cells are dying. It doesn't have. It does? Well, then I guess I'm just really tired. It says it has carbonated water, citric acid, natural and artificial flavor, sodium benzoate, potassium citrate, caffeine. Oh, it does have caffeine. Wow. Well, I'm putting these things in my body. This sounds like a weird, like, what are these words? Sucrose, acetate, isobutyrate, yellow 5, blue 1. I'm a bad girl. This is junk. This is a Mountain Dew Baja Blast, 0 sugar. Yeah, all I hear is cancer. Listen, okay, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of drugs. Soda is like the one thing I have. Like my Diet Coke, I usually have Diet Coke. These are actually Revs that I got him. Because we both like the Baja Blast 0 from Taco Bell. And so I saw these and was like, oh, that'd be cool. But, yeah. Sodium benzoate is gasoline? What? No, don't say that. Guys, I don't have anything else. Like, this is my one escape. Am I allowed to have this one escape? Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of those things. I don't vape. I never got the vaping. Yeah, also I haven't ate, I just realized I haven't ate since breakfast. It's 5 o'clock. That's also probably why I am tired. I ate this morning at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'm probably, my lunch was a Baja Blast Zero Mountain Dew. I'm an adult. I'm an adult, chat. Oh my goodness, you should get something to eat. I will eat. I literally like, I don't know, I thought about eating before stream because I was kind of hungry, but not super hungry. And that was like 2 o'clock. But then also, I don't like eating right before stream because I feel like, you know, like if you eat right before stream and then, oh, you guys might not stream actually, but like, you know, like if you eat and then you try to talk and your mouth is like, a blah blah blah, like it feels like, gross. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, your mouth just, like, you sound gross. Like, it sounds like you got something in your mouth still or something. I don't know. Like, your mouth is all weird. So I don't really like to eat, like, right before stream if I can help it. Or, like, right before I record something. Because I feel like it just makes my mouth, like, all gross. Like, yeah, kind of like congestion and stuff. Yeah, so singers don't eat before singing. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, it just kind of like, I don't know, it makes your voice sound different and like gross and like phlegmy. And so anyways, yeah, I was gonna eat before stream and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then time slipped away from me and now it's 5 o'clock and I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. What's wrong with me? Why do you guys watch me? Cool. I'm a silly girl. Go eat and have a tea, but now it's like already 5 o'clock. It's like I should just eat in like an hour and have dinner, you know? Although Rev likes to have late dinner. I'm like someone who likes to have dinner at like 6 o'clock. Like if I could have dinner at 6 o'clock, I would do that. But he's like, no, I like having dinner at 8:30. It's like, did you like my impression, my impression of Rev. I like to have dinner at 8:30. I like a late dinner. But he's not streaming tonight, so we could maybe have it earlier. Based, also because you're called a chud. I'm a chud. I'm a Christian having unwavering devotion. Yippee. Yeah, I know. I'm really good at my impressions, guys. I'm very talented. Thought you were gonna start yapping in Japanese. I don't speak. I'm like, okay. Also, it's funny. Like, people assume that I'm Asian or like Wasian. And also, like, whenever I post photos of myself, like, I censor my face usually, but like, if people see my eyes, they think I'm like Wasian or something. But I'm not. I'm just white. But like, I don't know what people think. I think some people think too because like like an anime girl, they're like, oh, you're clearly. But then again, I feel like, I don't know like what other people's perception is. I guess like in my head, because I am like a white person, I assume like other VTubers are also white, but there actually are a lot of like Asian VTubers, which like makes sense. Like obviously like it makes sense, but like even like American, but like Asian or like Canadian or whatever, but Asian. But in my head, I guess because I'm a white girl, I'm like, oh, everyone's like a white girl, and then they're not, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Maybe that's why people think that I'm not, but I tell people I am. But they say that, I don't know, but my eyes, I have like a, I don't know what it's like actually called. Like, my eyes have like it's like the hooded eyes or whatever. So apparently it looks so, but also those are like not they're not unique to any one group of people. Like, anyone can have them. But I don't know. The one photo you posted, you do look Asian, but you censor. Yeah, I censor it. If I ever post a photo, I like censor most of my face. But every now and then I'll post it on my alt because I'm like, I look cute today. I'll show off like my hair bow. I think the last one I posted was on Valentine's Day on my alt, and I was like, yeah, look at my bow, because I felt pretty. Almond eyes? I don't know if that's what it's called. Maybe that is what I have. Maybe they are almond. I don't know. I'm really bad at like noticing details of things, so like I'm not good at like telling things apart. You know what I mean? I'm not good at that. I don't know. I think maybe it is almond. But then also like it can be hooded kind of depending on how, like if my eyes are super open or if they're more like relaxed. It's okay, I'm Asian. In the past, people mistook me as black from your voice. It's just the area I grew up. Yeah, I mean, obviously that affects you a lot. Growing up, I sounded like this. I was very yeehaw, because I'm from the South. So I did sound a lot more like this. And honestly, when I'm with my family, if I'm with my family, I'll start talking like this. I can't lie. Like, I'll get back from being with my mom, and Rev will be like, what is wrong with you? But I'm able to pull it back. But definitely when you're around people, like, I feel like it can influence, like, how you talk. Being around other people. And for me, when I'm around other Southern people, it draws, I don't even know what the psychology is behind it, but it like draws it out of me. So like if I'm with my mom for like an afternoon and then I come home and Rev's like, I can tell you've been with your mom because I'm talking like this. Okay, that's not that, well, maybe it is that pronounced sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Is that what they call code switching? But it's not even intentional really. But no, but when I was younger, it was very, very, I had a very, like, thick country accent. Because, you know, I was raised in the South, and, but I spent a lot of my childhood online. And so, people would be like, that's embarrassing. Like, you sound like you're a hillbilly. You're uneducated. And of course, I was a little girl, I took it to heart, and I was like, I don't want to sound weird. And so I was like, I will remove my accent. Because I would like talk to strangers on the internet, like on Omegle and Tiny Chat. And I wanted to be like, I don't know, different than I was. So I was like, I'll change myself. And then I changed myself, and then I kind of like, I don't know, kind of sticks with you, I guess. Oh no, I haven't hit the like button. Let me fix that. Yeah, you better fix that. You better like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Hit the bell. Or else. You have not yeed your last haw. No, not by far. I have not yeed my last haw. Absolutely not. But yeah, I think I actually showed, because like, I was like making YouTube videos when I was in like middle school. And like even like right before middle school, I guess. But I think I showed like, or I didn't show the video because it was like me in real life. But I had played the audio a couple years ago, I think, for chat on one of them, just to like show you like what I actually sounded like when I was a kid. I was like 11 in the video, I think. But it's like, hi, my name is Strawb. And I was talking about like a collab channel I was wanting to create. I was like, and I use Windows Movie Maker for my, I was like, tell me where you're from and your video editing software and your camera. And I was like, I use Windows Movie Maker. I was like, and I use my webcam. I use my webcam. I would do like stop motion music videos. And bro, I was like, okay, eventually I learned how to download music on the internet. But before I knew how to do that, because like I was a little kid, okay? Before I knew how to do that, I would actually take my phone or my laptop. No, I think so I would take my phone. Actually, at the time I didn't have a phone. I had a iPod Touch. I would take my iPod Touch and I would play the song out loud, and then I would open up my computer. I had a little like computer, and I would press record, and I would record the sound playing outside of my iPod Touch to my computer. And so it was so bad. It was so, the sound quality was not good, chat. It was not good. But, and then I would make like stop motion YouTube videos with like music videos. Like, and they weren't all stop motion, but a lot of them were. That was like kind of like the trend. It was like 2010, 2011. And yeah, I would do it to like all, I think one of them was like to Dynamite or something. Like, I had one for like some old Kesha songs, like TikTok and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, those bring me back, man. I always wanted to be a YouTuber though. It's kind of crazy that I'm actually a content creator now, because I remember being like a kid and like, I mean, I was uploading on YouTube obviously, but like no one saw the videos. Like they had maybe like 50 views and they were probably all from me. But it was just fun though. I just genuinely enjoyed it. And then, but I remember like watching iCarly when I was getting a little older, and I was like, I want, oh, I say a little older, like middle school, I guess, but I was like, I want to have a channel like iCarly, and I like made like, I was like, I'm gonna call it like my real name. So it was like strawb or whatever. And I was like, and we'll be like iCarly. And I was like, I want to have my own web show. And I remember like me and at the time, my stepsister, we would like record videos together and like create like little like skits. Like, I have some of them saved, which like I could never show you guys because it's like us in real life. But oh my gosh, it's like peak. It's peak. Like, I am just, I'm obsessed, and every now and then I'll go back and watch them just like to relive like my childhood. Like, that was like, oh my gosh, life wasn't all good as a kid. Like, I had a lot of things that I dealt with when I was a kid, but like those were the good moments, you know, like those were the good times. Oh my god, I can't stop, like I can't even wipe the smile off my face right now, because like it was just so fun to like record things like that. And we really thought we were gonna get famous. We were like, yeah, they're gonna come and scout us. Like, we would watch like Fred, like the guy that talked like this and had his little channel or whatever, and we watch like all the collab channels and like all the popular streamers like that, and we were like, yeah, they're totally gonna want us to like collab with them. Like, we're gonna really pop off. We were so delusional. But you know, if little me could see me now, she'd be like, what? You actually do this? Like, and people actually watch you, and like you actually like make money? And like, you went to college and you didn't even end up doing what you got your degree for, because this was actually more profitable? Like, how? And that's just insane, to be honest. So, you know, as much as streaming and stuff can cause like anxiety and stress in different ways, well, specifically for me, because I'm just like a kind of a controversial person, I guess, but it's worth it every time I would take it over not having it. I'm literally like living out my dreams, you know what I mean? Like, literally just living out my childhood dreams, being able to make content on the internet. And little did I know I would be able to like have a cute VTuber model that like tracked with my face and like, you know what I mean? This was like technology that you could only like dream about when you were a kid, you know? Like I definitely thought about things like this. Like I feel like I thought of the concept, you know? But like never actually thought it would be something that you could actually do in my lifetime. You know what I mean? Like I was like, that's very futuristic. Like maybe one day in the far, far, far future, like 200 years from now or something. I certainly did not think it would be this accessible. Like you don't really realize just how accessible or at least I didn't. Before I became a VTuber, I assumed like it was like not accessible at all. And even now, like compared to back then, like 2020 and 2021, it's way more accessible now. I mean, you know, you can get a YouTube studio and you can get free models. You can get the cheaper like pay to use models that are really nice, really high quality. You can kind of like customize them. And you can like, it's crazy. Like there's so much that you can do if you really put the time and the effort. Yeah, there's Vroid. There's so many like free assets and pay to use that's pretty low, like low prices and stuff. Like if you really are serious about this, like you want to try it out even for a hobby, like you can do it on a budget. You can do it for free. You really can. So it's just so cool though. I don't know. It's crazy. We do live in the future. Although there are things about the future that are not all maybe it was cracked up to be, but at the same time, you know, like there's a lot of good, obviously. You take the good with the bad. I take the good with the bad. Smile with the sad. But, wow, I've been just yapping. You guys got me yapping. You got me yapping, chat. I don't know. Me and Rev were supposed to get groceries today. We didn't get groceries. Is he gonna want to go get groceries? I don't feel like getting groceries. I don't feel like it. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to just be here. Never leave. I want to bed rot. Keep yapping, you're getting less sleepy because of it? No, I think it did wake me up a little bit, honestly. A little bit. Save it for tomorrow? Yeah, we said we were gonna get them yesterday, and then we did it. And then we said we were gonna get them today, and we didn't. But, you know. But now it's like late. Like, I don't like going to the grocery store at night. I mean, it's not late. It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is late to me now, okay? I'm like an old person. My bedtime is like early. It's funny because I think about like when I was in college and stuff and how like like 10, 11 o'clock, like the night was just getting started, especially for the weekend. Like if me and my friends would want to go out like to the bars and stuff, we would like 10 or 11, like we'd be getting our Uber at 11 o'clock. I'd be like taking a shower and like I'd have my White Claw in the shower with me, like pre-gaming, so I wouldn't have to spend so much money on alcohol. I'd be like getting ready, trying to down as many White Claws as I could. Crazy. And then now I'm just like, I'm an old person. I don't drink, I don't party, I don't go to bars. I don't have many friends in real life. I have friends online, and I do have some friends still in real life, but we just don't live super close, so we don't get to see each other a lot. And also, a lot of my friends like have children, so it's like they are busy. But it's like, yeah. So I went from like that to like now it's just like I just want to like be in bed and like watch a movie or a TV show. Or, like I want, if I have my way about it, like I'm in bed by like 9 p.m. latest. Like maybe 8 p.m. if I can. but like 8 to 9 p.m., like I want to be in bed, not asleep, but like in bed. And then I want at least like a couple hours of TV time. That's imperative to me. That's like a non-negotiable. Unless we're like out doing something, which like, I don't know, being out that late now, even still, it's so funny because I'm like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Like, we went to that movie the other night, and I think the movie was like at 7:30 or something, and like that's like a late movie for us. Like usually we'll go to the earlier movies because like we got out and it was like 9 something, almost 10 or something, and I was like, I feel like I'm doing something bad. Like I'm out late. This is crazy. It's dark outside. Oh, it's funny. I'm growing up. Hey, it feels weird that people in my generation have kids. Well, to be fair, one of my friends, I've been friends with her for forever. She had her first kid when she was like 16. So she's like always had kids. So it's always been that way with her, where it's like, now she has like a bunch of kids. But yeah, so it's kind of always been that way where it's like, she just has kids. She's just busy. But I still try and make time to see her and her kids. I love her. I love all of them. They're very sweet. But, and then yeah, some of my other friends also have kids, so that I met like through church and stuff. So everyone's just busy, you know? And even my one really good friend that doesn't have kids, she's also busy and she just lives kind of far away. So it's hard. It's like everyone was, well, I was pretty close with a lot of people in college, but then like people ended up moving. Like not everyone stayed like near our town, you know? A lot of people moved further away or back home to where they were from. And then you kind of just get, I don't know, everyone grows up and they're busy with their own lives and, you know, it's just crazy. But it's normal. It's normal and understandable. I guess that's probably it for stream today. I think I'm gonna go because I need to figure out what we're doing about dinner. Thanks for coming. I hope you had a good time. Grandma's going crazy. She's crazy mode. But I would have posted the comment as a donation because I feel like it's important. I don't have the ability right now. Oh, you're fine. You never have to donate anything. I mean, of course I appreciate the donations and stuff, but like it's never required, obviously. Like you guys can just chat normally and I'll read your chats, obviously. I mean, of course it won't be the exact same, like it's not going on the screen necessarily, but don't feel like you have to ever do that, you know? I'm very blessed in so many ways, and yeah, not a big deal. Thank you for the stream. Hope you have a great day. Thanks. I hope you guys do too. And yeah, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. The waiting room for tomorrow is not up yet, but it will be up either later today or probably tomorrow. Honestly, it'll be up tomorrow, but same time, same place, 2 p.m. EST. If you guys aren't familiar by now, my streams are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. EST. And then Fridays have been 11 a.m. EST for the members only streams. So yeah, and then like I said, Wednesday I'm not going to be at the Bible study in the Discord because I have family obligations, but it's still happening in the Discord. Someone else is leading it in the Discord. They volunteered, so it's still happening. So if you want to come on Wednesday, everyone's still going to be doing the usual thing. So I encourage you guys, if you want to, if you've been coming, if you haven't came yet but you would like to, you're more than welcome to. You can join the Discord. I'll put the link for the Discord in the chat in case anyone is curious to join. And yeah. Also, yeah, just a reminder too that the keychains do end in 3 days and 7 hours. So if you want to get a strawb keychain, the Valentine's keychains, once they're gone forever. You'll never be able to get one again. So if you want one, the pre-orders close on the 13th at 12 o'clock a.m. CST. So So the link for that is pinned in chat. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night. Bye!